Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play 428 Shibuya Scramble. Last time, Achi and Hitomi continued to run again, and they started to make some observations about the situation they're in, and like right when they were cornered by somebody from the criminal organization, that person was attacked by someone named Kanan. Kano, well, I keep pronouncing his name like Kano. I admittedly only do that because of Kano from Mortal Kombat. What the hell was that sound? But yeah, Kano from Mortal Kombat, but that is a Western game, so like Englishized or Americanized or whatever like name, so maybe it is pronounced Kano. That would set it apart from Kanan, which is Arabic in a sense, that what they're trying to push. Alright, one moment. Well, that was fucking annoying, but yeah, maybe I'll just start calling him Kano. That might be more close to Japanese pronunciation. I don't know. 'Cause I don't think I've ever heard like that name in any Japanese media I've consumed, so yeah, I'm still flying by the seat of my pants there. But regardless, him and Stanley had a series of unfortunate events before they finally made it to the criminal organization hideout, where everyone had died. Except for one guy. And before he ended up dying, he told Kano the name of their attacker. The name was Kanan. Minorikawa attended the Burning Hammer presentation. It failed miserably, but he did end up getting like an interview with the Mr. Yonagashita, and yeah, he was ready to do some work, but his computer will not turn on. Osawa just continued to live his life, but then he did speak to Makino about the testing. Makino admitted it and sort of blackmailed Osawa into staying with the company and not go to America, to which he agreed. Also, Osawa did have a bug tracker with them from Kajiwara, and as it turns out, Osawa's right-hand man, his assistant, might be spying on him. And this might have something to do with Hitomi. So yeah. Also, meet Maria. Tama was Maria all along. Yeah, the Burning Hammer presentation, it failed, but she was finally able to get the costume off. And yeah. Really interested to see where this goes. There is a lot of stuff that's happening right now. I don't know who to start with. Let's just start with Kano. Like, wow. Kanan, Kano muttered. What's Kanan? The stench of blood hung heavy in the basement bar. Stanley was silent, staring at the criminal's corpse. Hey, do you know anything about this? Kano asked. Still, Stanley gave no response. The silent treatment again, huh? Kano huffed. The American glanced at him gravely. In all likelihood, the one who did this was acting alone. Alone? Against this many other people? Who on earth? There's no need for you to know. Cut the crap, Kano snapped. He grabbed Stanley by the collar. If there is someone involved in this case who's capable of something like this, I need to know about it. How am I supposed to do my job if you keep me in the dark? Stanley remained stone-faced. Look, I'm not afraid of the risks, Kano said. And I'll be a lot more effective if you at least fill me in on the basics here. The more you know, the sooner you'll wind up dead. Kano tightened his grip. But it's okay if I wind up dead while I'm still in the dark, huh? Fine, Stanley said. I'll answer your first question. He brushed Kano's arm aside. Kanan is the name of a covert operative from the Middle East. In simple terms, a type of spy that infiltrates hostile territory to carry out various clandestine activities. I believe she's the one who killed these people here. The Middle East? A covert operative? Kano hadn't expected spycraft to be involved with this. Yes, she's an assassin and a cryptanalysis specialist. What? Do you recall the mass jailbreak from Abu Ghraib prison a while back? Oh my god. Okay. A prison in Iraq west of Baghdad under the Hussein government. It was an internment facility for political prisoners, but following the Iraq War, it was used by the US Army to house prisoners of war. In April of 2004, photographs of detainees being tortured by US soldiers were released, causing a massive scandal. President Bush later made the decision to have the facility demolished. Kanan was the one who provided the intel the escapees used to get out. Kano was at a loss for words. The case was suddenly starting to seem a whole lot more sinister. Whoever this Kanan was, she'd apparently killed nearly a dozen people with only a knife. She was clearly no one to trifle with. Just what kind of individual were they dealing with here? He could scarcely imagine. Once again, Kano surveyed the crime scene. Each of the murdered criminals had his throat slit. From the look of the deep, clean cuts, the killer hadn't hesitated in the slightest. Wow, she moves quick. Okay, so then what connection does this Kanan have with the mastermind behind this kidnapping? If Kanan had killed all of the foreign syndicate members in this bar, did that mean she and the person behind the kidnapping were enemies? Or perhaps she and the kidnapper were working in concert, and she'd carried out those slayings as part of some plan to get rid of some loose ends? I believe I said I'd answer one question. Turning away, Stanley picked up a file from atop a nearby table. Apparently he wasn't in the sharing mood. Realizing that further questions would be pointless, Kano, gotta get used to this, peered sidelong at the file as Stanley opened it. Inside was a detailed map of Shibuya. There were various routes marked with arrows and times. That's the plan for the ransom relay! Kano was so excited he blurted his thoughts out loud. It appeared that the ultimate goal for the ransom was a condominium. The address and the time, 2:20, were written in red ink, and that's where the guy that we detained in the bad end, that's where he was like, oh, it's 2:20? Alright, that's enough time. And then he stopped talking. Kano put an immediate call to the investigation task force to relay this information. The final destination is Ground Hill number 405 in Hiru 534 Shibuya. Alright, Kuze told him. We'll look into who owns the condo in question. You and Stanley head over there now. I'm sending backup to go in with you. You have authorization to apprehend the suspect. Finally hearing the order that he'd so long been waiting for, Kano felt a spark of determination flare inside him. Alright, let's go, he said, some of his excitement slipping into his voice. Stanley, still solemn, closed the file and followed him out of the bar. Stanley drove along the Inokashira Dori toward Hiru, where the finish line for the ransom relay was located. His demeanor was cold and brooding, in sharp contrast with Kano's gung-ho readiness. He seemed lost in some deep and cheerless thought. Kuze's voice came in over the wireless as the car came out onto Meiji Dori. "You've identified the owner of the condominium. It's..." Kano held his breath in anticipation. The name Kuze spoke caught him by surprise entirely. Oh, you sons of bitches! Okay. Dang. Why? Okay. And then they're so good with the cliffhangers they do, where it's like, I don't know who I want to go with next. Well, let's hopefully learn a little more about Kanan. Because Hitomi seemed to know who that was. You must be Hitomi. The girl called Kanan spoke fairly fluent Japanese. Hitomi nodded in response. Yes, that's me. And you're Kanan, right? How did you know my name? Did Maria tell you? Yes. She told me about this amazing girl from overseas she made friends with. A thin smile crossed Kanan's lips at the word amazing. Then her look grew sad. Poor Maria. It's my fault that she was abducted. What? Achi and Hitomi gasped in unison. That's why I have to rescue her, Kanan added. Hold on a second, Hitomi said. What do you mean it's your fault? Kanan replied by jerking her chin in the direction of the main road. Better head that way, she said softly. Someone's coming. But Hitomi didn't back down. Please tell me, why was my sister kidnapped? Several sets of footsteps echoed down the alley. They could see figures approaching now. By the looks of them, accomplices of the man Kanan had taken down earlier. You two get out of here, she warned. I'll handle this. Yeah, considering what she did at the organization, they about to die. She stepped out in front of Achi and Hitomi, moving with such confidence that they didn't doubt she could handle the threat. Come to the GIGO building at 3 o'clock, she added quietly, never taking her eyes off the advancing syndicate members. Huh? Hitomi squeaked. I'll explain everything then. The criminals broke into a run. Come on, Hitomi, let's go, Achi hissed. He took her by the hand and bolted from the alleyway. The two didn't slow their pace until they'd put plenty of distance between themselves and the alleyway. Kanan said this was her fault. What could she have meant by that? The hard run hadn't made Hitomi forget the other girl's startling suggestion. Well, she said she'll meet up with us again later, Achi said. We can ask her more about it then. In the meantime, an ache in his belly had made Achi realize he'd been running all day and hadn't eaten since the morning. People on a diet need to be careful about skipping meals. Going too long without proper nourishment can cause the body to store up its energy reserves, leading to weight gain instead of loss. Proper eating habits and proper exercise are key. Maybe it's not the best timing, but you want to get some food? I'll be okay. Tommy's face was racked with emotion. It's only natural, Achi thought. Not only was she afraid for her sister's life, but there were all these people out to kill her too. And with this Kanan girl suddenly showing up, the situation was more confusing than ever. Still, they might as well address the few problems they could control. There was a fast food joint nearby. Let's go in there, Achi said. You might not be hungry, but you should still make sure you stay hydrated. Hitomi shook her head, but her wan face practically radiated exhaustion. Come on, we should rest up a little. But there's no rush. If we're going to meet up with Kanan later, it's probably best if we don't just wander aimlessly until then. Never know who we might run into. I guess you're right. The two went into the fast food restaurant together. Not to mention crowded places. Sweden. But yeah, crowded places, it's good, because that means, if somebody tries to start something, there's plenty of witnesses. Welcome, said the girl at the register with a bright smile. May I take your order? I'll have the spaghetti with meat sauce. How about you, Hitomi? Spaghetti with the sauce made from tomatoes and ground meat, also known as spaghetti bolognese. If you want to sound more Italian, like Napolitan spaghetti, flavored with ketchup, it is a perennial favorite of Japanese children. Frozen packages at the supermarket for around 200 yen a pop make for a simple and decently tasty microwavable meal that's also easy on the wallet. I needed to know the history about spaghetti with meat sauce, okay? Thank you. I'll just have an iced tea. Hey now, you should probably eat at least a little something. Okay. Then I'll have a strawberry parfait. A dessert of strawberries topped with ice cream and whipped cream. Hitomi has been so worried about her sister that she hasn't eaten anything since last night. But being with Achi has calmed her nerves a little, and her appetite has returned. Perhaps her reflexive order of a strawberry parfait is a sign that she's not only hungry, but also still a little girl with a sweet tooth at heart. She sounded a little embarrassed to be ordering a dessert. Why? Don't be embarrassed. Dessert is awesome, yo. So yeah, said Achi. One spaghetti and meat sauce and a strawberry parfait, please. Coming right up. The cashier promptly assembled their meal and set it out on a tray. We got a special contest going on right now, she said. Please check it out if you're interested. The girl handed Achi a flyer. It read, Iron Stomach Eating Contest. Eat 1,000 scoops of ice cream and win 10 million yen. Sign me up. Competitive eating event held by this establishment, backed by Sun TV. The competition has been shared with the entire country over the internet. Many contestants have entered for a shot at a 10 million yen prize, but so far, no one has been able to complete the eating challenge. Due to the large number of competitors who suffer from gastrointestinal distress as a result of their efforts, roughly 30 portable toilets have been set up outside the restaurant. I guess they don't have iron stomachs, yo. What the heck? Achi stared at the flyer as he took a seat at an open table. 1,000 scoops? That's impossible. Just let it melt and drink it. Look at that. Y'all still playing checkers? I'm up here playing chess. 4D chess at that. Get at me. Anyway, let's hurry up and eat. As Achi stuffed his face with spaghetti, he thought back to their encounter with Kanan. The girl had helped them out, sure, but could they really trust her completely? It might be dangerous to meet up with her again. Still, Hitomi needed to know more about what happened to Maria, and Kanan obviously knew something about that. It looked like they need to take that risk. My sister really is amazing. Huh? Hitomi's quiet words drew Achi from his ruminations. He paused with a forkful of spaghetti halfway to his mouth. My sister met Kanan while she was on a trip to the Middle East with my father. Hitomi nibbled at her parfait, looking lonesome. Cool, but how does that in particular make your sister amazing? It's typical of her is all. She's so dynamic and gung-ho about things. Hitomi explained, her gaze turned inward. It was just my father and sister who took that trip to the Middle East. I didn't go with them. I guess my mental image of that part of the world is mostly that it's really dangerous. To me, going there seemed like a huge risk, but Maria didn't see it that way. Heh, your sister sounds like a bit of a loose cannon. But if you can't bring yourself to take risks to do things, Hitomi continued, you can't meet new people and have new experiences. That's the part I always get hung up on. The risk. I'd never be able to make a friend like Kanan. Achi's mind wandered as he listened to Hitomi talk. I don't see this having like an effect on anything. They're just inward, like, yeah, just inner dialogue, but whatever, we'll just go with this. He just wanted to sit there and listen to her voice. Her voice was sweeter than any parfait could be. Oh my god. Achi had never been a big fan of sweets, monster, but he wanted as many helpings of Hitomi's voice as he could get. The term used to refer to candies, snacks, or desserts that are flavored to be, well, sweet. You'll see people on cooking shows trying fancy sweets and raving about how they taste using every word but sweet. Which you would think kind of defeats the whole purpose, but whatever. No matter how trivial, if she said it, he wanted to hear it. But Hitomi went quiet and hung her head. Broken from his reverie, Achi spoke up again. What's the point of comparing yourself to your sister? You're your own person, Hitomi. Professor Palmer said the same thing. Achi didn't recognize the name. Oh, sorry. Leland Palmer, he's my university English professor. He has given me advice on a whole bunch of things. It sounded rather intimate. All sorts of worrying images shot through Achi's mind. Oh my god. So, how old is this teacher of yours? Huh? Around 40 or so, I guess? Great, Achi thought to himself. Another middle-aged guy. Oh my god. His mind filled with another sequence of slightly more upsetting images. Oh hey, ain't that Hitomi Osawa? Oh wow, you're right, it totally is. A college-age couple sitting behind them were talking in hushed, excited tones. Man, she really is a cutie, the young man observed. He made no attempt to hide the fact he was looking Hitomi over. Hey, hold on, Masa, said the girl. What gives? A first-year student at Minorikawa Academy who works part-time as a delivery driver for Dogen Hut, a noodle shop on Dogenzaka. He's taking a day off work today in order to attempt a dry run of the Iron Stomach eating competition, hoping to strike it rich while his girlfriend looks on. But now that he's eaten 2 parfaits, his stomach isn't feeling well, and he's just gotten back from his 5th trip to the toilet. Dang, you can't handle 2 parfaits, you definitely ain't about to take on that competition. Well, I mean, she is Miss Midoriyama, right? Miss Midoriyama? Don't turn around, but keep your ears tuned. Achi said nothing, but kept his ears tuned to the couple's conversation. You sure that's her? Yeah, it totally is. No, it isn't. Isn't that Maria Osawa? Oh, huh. Maybe? Either way, she's super cute. Hey now, Masa, what gives? First-year student at Midoriyama Academy who works part-time for Dogen Hut, a noodle shop for Dogenzaka. He's just back from suffering in the restroom, his stomach rather upset from eating too much parfait. While doing his business there, he happened to spot a magazine on the wall rack. Flipping through nonchalantly, he came across a potential $100,000 yen scratch card inside. Seeing that it hadn't been scratched off, he considered trying for the prize, but then, deciding that it was no time to press his luck, he left the restroom without scratching it. He would have been lucky, just saying. Achi turned back to Hitomi. Is that true? He asked, peering intently at her face. Well, yeah. She nodded with an awkward smile. I mean, you are really cute and all, Achi said. Miss Midoriyama, well, I'll be. He nodded to himself as he took it all in. It was Professor Palmer who convinced me to enter the beauty contest, actually, Hitomi said. The Miss Midoriyama contest at Midoriyama Academy is considered one of the top student beauty pageants in Japan. Pin-up shots of both Hitomi and Maria have already graced the pages of several magazines. Okay. Can't say that happens at too many universities in the US. What do I know? Talent agencies have also made attempts to scout them, but both girls declined, claiming that they entered the contest just for the memories, and that they have no interest in show business. Huh. Achi's smile twisted up a little. He said if I really wanted to change myself, I should try entering. Achi maintained his outward composure, but inside his heart was racing. Tanaka and Palmer. Which of them held Hitomi's true affections? Or was she possibly leading on 2 middle-aged men at the same time? The more he thought about it, the worse his delusions became. What actually happened, though, is my sister and I both won the prize. Hitomi's words snapped him out of his funk. She sounded disappointed. Huh? They gave out a double prize. Turns out my sister had entered the competition, too. She smiled a self-deprecating smile. Guess twins really do think alike, huh? Hey, double schmumble, you still won a prize, right? That's pretty impressive. Nah, they just picked me as an afterthought to my sister, because twins sharing the prize made for a good headline. She looked away sadly. Did they say they picked you as an afterthought? They didn't have to. It was obvious that my sister really won. You can't know that. Maybe she was the afterthought. Come on, you need to believe in yourself. Hitomi just hung her head. But I'm such a terrible person. Suddenly her eyes welled up with tears. I hate myself so much. I can never forgive myself for what I did. Hey, whoa. Achi watched her with trepidation. She looked like she might start bawling at any moment. What's the matter? The night my sister was kidnapped, I was supposed to go to a college party with her. But then all of a sudden she told me not to go. I kept asking her why not, but she just kept insisting I couldn't. Tommy's face was bleak with regret. We both got mad and I wound up blowing up at her. Okay, I get it. I don't need to go to the party. Fine. I'd just be your little tag-along anyway. Just like in that beauty contest, you couldn't just let me enter that by myself, could you? You always have to be the center of attention. Maria scowled. Fine. The party starts at 7 o'clock. Try not to forget, okay? I was kicking myself as soon as I told her off. My sister isn't the sort of person to tell me what to do or not to do. Oh my god, what to do or not do. She must have had a reason for not wanting me to go. I was planning on apologizing to her after the party. But then she was abducted, right? Achi polished off the last of his spaghetti. He set down his fork, then wiped his mouth. Hitomi, I get why you're trying so hard to save your sister, he said. And maybe I'm not as tough as that Kanan girl, but I'll stick with you to the end if you'll let me. He tried his best to convey an optimism he didn't really feel. And once we found her and she's safe and sound, you can tell her you're sorry about what you said. At long last, Hitomi cracked a smile. Hey, the Sega store! A short while later, the two arrived outside the GIGO building. They were a little early for their 3 o'clock meetup with Kanan. They decided that searching at random for the blue minivan was too risky. It could easily draw the attention of the man with the cane or the foreign kidnappers. Getting information from Kanan seemed like the best next move. Oh hey, Achi said as they waited. You got a little rip in your top. Hitomi glanced at her shoulder and saw the tear in the fabric. Oh, you're right. When did that happen, I wonder? Must have snagged on something while we were running, I guess. We got some time before Kanan gets here. You want to buy some new clothes? Huh? Are you sure that's a good idea? We'll stick out if we just stand around here waiting. May as well head inside until it's time. Since many celebrities did their shopping at GIGO, there were back entrances for times when the place was crowded. Everyone who frequented this old shopping district knew about them, including Achi and Hitomi. In a pinch, one of those back entrances could be an escape route. With this in mind, the two headed inside. Shibuya GIGO was an entertainment complex featuring a video arcade and fashion shops. At the time of the story, GIGO includes not only a fashion mall, but various amusements on its different levels. The second floor features all-ages fun with rides, games, and sticker machines, while the third floor sports the latest arcade games for the core gamer. There's also a food court that offers things such as crepes and loaded takoyaki octopus dough balls. Are crepes really that big of a deal in Japan? Because there's like a crepe place in Tokyo Mirage Sessions that like a couple different like side stories and like just smaller missions take place at, and also, I've never had a crepe IRL. I would like to try one day. The ground floor and 2 basement levels of the building were designed as an amusement area, outfitted with skee-ball, claw cranes, fighting games, and the like. I would love to be there. Skee-ball and fighting games, sign me up. I will kick all the ass. The second floor held a mix of photo booths and ladies' wear shops. On the third floor were specialty fashion boutiques, and on the fourth were restaurants. Achi and Hitomi took the escalator to the second floor. Hitomi started heading for the shops, but Achi stopped her. Hey, wait up! What's the matter? A dude hanging around a woman's clothing store is going to stand out. I'll wait for you here. Oh, stop being so self-frickin' cautious. There seemed to be nobody but female customers around. If the man with the cane or the kidnappers appeared, Achi figured, he would spot them right away. It should be safe for Hitomi to shop on her own for a short while. Alright, Hitomi said. I'll try to make this quick. She began to head out onto the sales floor. What? Oh no. He doesn't know they're twins! Oh, this is going to be great. Phew! A seedy-looking man poked out from beneath the door of a photo booth right at Hitomi's feet. That was a close one, wasn't it, Tama? He said to her. I thought I was dead meat for show. His tone was oddly cheerful considering what he was saying. Who's this guy? Achi asked. You know him? No, I don't. The sketchy fellow gave her an ingratiating look. Come on, Tama, don't be like that. Hitomi took an anxious step back. Hey man, knock it off. Achi dragged the guy up to his feet. Okay, no need to get all tested. Who is this guy, Tama? He your boyfriend? Boyfriend? Oh, you one way to get rid of him. That's right. So how about you get lost? Or a bashful grin sped across Achi's face. I guess. Achi didn't want to give the wrong impression. No, it's nothing like that. I mean, to be fair, Hitomi's an introvert. She probably wouldn't go for one of these. We'll just say that. No, it's nothing like that, Hitomi said. Oh, she probably would have cut him off no matter what. Achi was going to be upfront about it, but she beat him to the punch. Somehow that kind of stung a little. What? So you're not her boyfriend? The guy flashed a broad grin. Hey, listen, you creep. Who the hell are you? Oh, me? The man's face suddenly blanched. Oh, crap. Tama, hold on this for a bit, will you? The weirdo shoved a worn-out magazine into Hitomi's hands, then bolted off in a panic. The heck was that all about? Yeah, I wonder why he ran off like that. Achi and Hitomi stared at one another. The debt collectors. Well, anyway, Achi said, there are a lot of nut jobs out there, so just be careful, yeah? Okay, if anything happens, I'll give you a shout. Hitomi flashed him an impish smile, then scampered off onto the sales floor. As he watched her go, Achi muttered to himself, damn it, why'd she have to be so cute? "5 minutes or more passed as Achi waited for Hitomi. He stood by the escalator, almost as if he were keeping guard. Female shoppers began to give him icy stares for being somewhere he probably shouldn't. This sucks. Come on, Hitomi, hurry up and get back here. The longer he waited, the more uncomfortable he felt. It's only been 5 minutes, calm down. How long was she going to take? Then he happened to turn around to see Hitomi riding the escalator up. That's not her. It looked like she had indeed bought some new clothes. Hey, Hitomi! She didn't seem to hear him. Oh, what do I do? I don't know what she's doing on her timeline. I'm not going to go after her. Just shout a bit louder. Decide to shout a bit louder. Hey, come on, wait up! Hitomi stole a quick look back at him. Where are you going? He called. It's not safe for us to get too separated. Yet, still, she continued her flight toward the upper floors. Did she not realize it was him or something? Achi hurried in pursuit. Oh no. Achi followed her, but by the time he reached the top, she was out of sight. This was the restaurant floor, so it was more open than the other levels. A floor designated solely for eateries. Typically, this is the topmost floor of a small building like GIGO. Those who head up here during morning hours will likely find the place deserted. GIGO's restaurant floor features a variety of different cuisines, including Chinese, Italian, creative Japanese food, sushi, tempura, and other delicacies from around the world. He hurriedly began to look around. As he wandered, he bumped into a man talking on his cell phone. Sorry, my bad. Achi held up a hand in apology, but the man was too engrossed in his conversation to notice. No, you're not getting it. The lock was undone, too. The man startled Achi by suddenly shouting into his phone. You need to consider the risk of it getting out. Whatever this guy was talking about, he sure was angry at whoever was on the other end. Look, I'll figure out what to do about the minivan. You just handle things on your end. Minivan? Achi's interest was piqued, but he needed to find Hitomi before he let anything distract him. As he scoured the 4th floor, he came across a Chinese buffet and noticed the large windows in its outer walls. You could see a lot of Shibuya through those windows. Maybe Hitomi had decided to look for the minivan from up here? One of the restaurant employees came rushing up as Achi headed inside. "Sir, I'm sorry," she said. Sir, you have to forgive the inconvenience. We're not open to the public. Not right now. Not at the moment, I mean." The employee's voice was oddly subdued for some reason. Masai Takei, a part-time staffer at Imabiki Chinese restaurant. Her boss chewed her out pretty bad for showing up at work with her nails manicured black. She was ordered to go to the restroom and scrub them clean, but no amount of nail polish remover was able to do the trick. And so she's been dealing with her boss's wrath all day long. Okay. "Why not?" Achi asked. "Well, you see, one of our other customers ate all of our food." They ate all of it? Oh my god. All the streams are crossing. Looking around, Achi saw a chubby young woman camped out at the table by one of the windows. She set out before her was a veritable mountain of plates. "What I'm trying to say, sir, is that we're closed for the rest of the day." "Oh, but I'm with her, actually," Achi lied. Without waiting for a reply, he barged into the restaurant. He took a quick look around, but there was no sign of Hitomi. Before leaving, though, he figured he'd at least take a look out the windows. Huge glass panes looked out onto Dogenzaka. He had a decent view of the roads, but he didn't spot a blue minivan. Achi dropped his gaze to the sidewalk outside the building. Uh-oh. Oh. He let out a tiny gasp. Even from 4 stories up, there was no mistaking what he saw. A group of black-clad foreign men had gathered outside the building. Had they figured out that he and Hitomi were inside? He needed to find her, and fast. He raced out of the restaurant, alert for trouble. But Hitomi's still in the clothing place, but then we got Maria here. What is going on? But yeah, we got 2 keep outs. Oh my god. So that's at 2:25? Wow, that hasn't been long at all. There's a jump point here? Oh, that's at 1. That's in 1. I'm looking at that like, what? Okay, who else? This will probably open up the keep out. Also, I can't do the cat mascot voice anymore. The sales clerk continues to stare at me. "You know, you look really familiar," he says. "Huh? Really?" I perk up at that. Maybe I can find out something about who I am. "Yeah, you totally look like some pop singer or TV personality. I just can't remember who." "Oh, that's what you meant." My shoulders slump in disappointment. "Look, if you're trying to flatter me, how about a discount on the necklace?" "Sure, okay. I mean, it's just something I picked up off the side of the road." Sales clerk stammers for a moment. "Okay, how about I take off 10,000, 30,000 and it's yours." "You mean it?" That perks me right back up. Guess I'm easy to please. "Get your mind out of the gutter. That's not what she means and you know it." I mean, I wasn't even thinking that until you said something, being completely honest here. "Sure, you look like you might need to buy some new clothes too." He points to my sweater. Also, dang, she was wearing that under the mascot costume? Good lord, how are you not dead? "Oh, it's ripped. There's a tiny tear in the left shoulder." "So, what do you want to do about the cat?" the sales clerk adds. "Want me to dispose of it for you?" He gestures at my costume with his jaw. "Oh, right. What should I do? Some tells me it might come in handy. Just in case we need a getaway. But she didn't seem to have it with her at the place. But the fact that she was taking the escalator up, she probably knew that Cheery was there. Maybe she had the costume stashed with her? Let's take this. I feel a little guilty about having him go out of his way for me than he has already. Maybe I should deal with it myself. He looks a bit disappointed when I tell him that. I buy the necklace for 30,000 yen and leave the knickknack shop, hauling the costume with me. But as I walk along, I start regretting my decision. I can't find a good place to throw the cat outfit away. Finally, I spot a convenience store that looks like it will do just fine. One of the employees is out front, cleaning out the trash can. Several large garbage bags line the side of the road. Perfect! Maybe I can have him toss out the costume along with everything else. Excuse me. So I've got this old cat suit here. I figure it can't hurt to ask. Yeah, I know. The shop boy takes the costume from me. Taku Okado, 22-year-old, getting by on part-time employment. Recently, after a number of employees quit in rapid succession, the owner hurriedly took on several new hires, but for some reason, instead of everyone chipping in on the cleaning, Okado always winds up stuck doing it. You're here to throw this thing out. I got it. He sounds wholly unsurprised. He accepts it so blithely that I actually feel bad. It's been like this all morning, he says. Don't even care anymore. Just throw away what you need and be on your way, I guess. It's been like what all morning? I'm out here cleaning and people keep dumping trash on me. First it was this couple that up and threw a garbage bag at me. Achi and Hitomi Osawa. The two have just run into a girl named Kanan. After that, some homeless-looking guy came by, took all his clothes off, and left. Detective Yuji Sasayama, I had a feeling, from the Shibuya precinct. At the moment, Sasayama is searching for a costume for his next disguise. Like just now, some chubby girl tossed out some empty cardboard boxes and a bunch of empty bottles. That must have been Cheery. She was probably drinking the burning hammer while she walked along. So, when you came by just now at this thing, I knew right away. Yep, this again. I'm sorry. It's alright, 3 times, 4 times, what's the difference? He flashed a bright smile, but it's clearly insincere. Then he looks at me more closely. Huh? Aren't you the girlfriend of that dude who threw the bag of garbage at me? What? Nope, not me. Huh, guess I'm misremembering then. Well, anyway, thanks for your help with this. I give the guy a bow. A few minutes later, near the station, I spot a sort of mall. Checking the directory by the entrance, I see that it's got several clothing shops and an arcade inside. They probably sell shirts in here. I hurry on inside. The interior of the building is like a twisting maze of corridors, all of them overflowing with people. I take the escalator to the second floor and find myself amidst rows of arcade games. I was trying to get to the fashion area, but I must have gone the wrong way. Well, there you are. Excuse me. You haven't seen a lost little girl, have you? I turned to see a miserable-looking middle-aged man peering at me anxiously. Teru Toyama. He got separated from his daughter Hana while running from debt collectors. He's on edge, worried that the men who are after him might take Hana hostage. Have you seen her? Little girl about 10 years old? A girl around 10? Have I seen her? What's her name? Hana. Hana Toyama. Hana? Oh, that's a pretty name. So, she's about yay tall. The man launches into a rapid-fire explanation describing the girl's features, hair, and clothes. I got separated from her around Center Guy. She likes this place, so I thought maybe she'd come here. Center Guy? That's right, now I remember. This is the guy I bumped into earlier in the afternoon while I was racing around in the cat costume. He got separated from his daughter? Yikes. If she did come here, it's not going to be easy to find her in the midst of these crowds. Are you sure she didn't go back home? I asked. Well, there's this problem, he mutters. Going home isn't an option. Hey, that's not really an explanation. Sorry to bother you. I'll look around a bit more. With that, Hana's father disappears into the crowd. I leave the arcade and head for the fashion area. I bumped into Mr. Yanagashita in a hallway lined with photo booths. Huh? Boss? What's he doing in a place like this? Oh, Tama! You're out of the suit! For some reason, he's got a bunch of magazines strewn across the floor. Oh. He knows about the scratch cards. Yeah, finally managed to get it off. That's good. I wish you could have been at the sales demo without your face hidden away. What are you doing? You mentioned something about a creek earlier. Are you going on a trip? Yeah, I was, but then I remembered something important. I get motion sickness something fierce. He sounds kind of proud of himself. So yeah, no trips for me. Heck, I don't even want to think about that now. What about the money you owe? I asked, curious. Well, as it happens, I think I may have found my solution. He hangs a hand to his mouth and giggles. Right here. I found a great way to make a killing. To earn a lot of money, usually in a very short time and or with little effort. The phrase originated in the 19th century in reference to hunters who were paid based on the number of kills they made. He opens the magazine he's holding to reveal a scratch card with a potential 100,000 yen prize. You just gotta scratch off one of these to win 100,000 yen. All I need is 30 of them and my debt's squared away. Each magazine I can nab is more money for me. Despite his enthusiasm, his story doesn't quite add up. Are these scratch cards guaranteed to win? No, of course not. It's a lottery sort of thing. Well then, having 30 copies of the magazine is hardly a foolproof solution. Quite the opposite, in fact, but I hold my tongue. Well, he's gonna be surprised when he scratches them. Okay then, now that my goddess of fortune Tama's here, let me hurry and scratch these suckers off. Yanagashita begins fervently scratching away at the first card with a coin. Aw, that one's a loser. Maybe the next one. Nope, that's a loser too. Damn it, so's this one. And this one? I thought they were guaranteed to win. Weren't they? Isn't that why Toyama was... Oh, okay. In a spectacular display, he scratches off one losing card after another. Soon he's down to just one last magazine. You're not a very lucky person, are you? Oh, please don't say that. Mr. Yanagashita looks like he's on the verge of tears. I stare at one of the losing scratch cards. You know, if you could just see the symbols through the card, you'd win for sure, I say jokingly. I hold the card up to the light. Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, yep. When I do, I really can see the symbols through the card. Boss, I think I might have just... Shh. Interrupted you before I can share my shocking discovery. I look at him in surprise. Mr. Yanagashita has gone all pale. Quiet, Tama! Those guys are here. He shoves me into a photo booth. Those guys? The debt collectors, he hisses. They just do not give up. He clutches the sides of his head. Peeking out of the booth, I spot a pair of men who look pretty rough around the edges. Is it those two? Shh, not so loud. The men are looking around and they're getting closer and closer. What do I do? Oh, what do I do? Mr. Yanagashita starts getting panicky. Tama, what do I do? I have no idea. Oh, this is not good. This is not good. This Yanagashita whimpers. Being involved with those thugs strikes me as a bad idea. I don't think she would leave him. This guy gave me a job, so I kind of owe him. I'll look around for a better place for the two of us to hide. Unfortunately, I don't really see anywhere that might work. We might be safest staying right where we are. Just stay nice and still, and we'll be fine, I whisper. Yeah, you're probably right. The curtain is drawn so people can't see inside, but just to keep up appearances, we start taking photos as if we're normal customers. I really hope they don't look in here. Oh, I really hope they don't look in here, Mr. Yanagashita murmurs. What do we do if they find us? They won't, just don't worry. Despite my reassurances, it was a while before he stopped trembling. Then he said, You know, Tama, they say that when a man and a woman meet under unusual circumstances, it's easy for them to fall in love. Uh-huh, do they now? They do. Going through an extreme situation together makes you fall for each other. So, want to go get married? No way. Yeah, I am not having this conversation. Anyway, I think they're gone now. The debt collectors, I mean. Mr. Yanagashita peeks out and quickly scans the surrounding area. They're gone. They're gone! Ha ha ha! So long, losers. His fear has given way to a burst of manic energy. Guess I'm in the clear now. Thanks, Tama. Come on, let's take some commemorative photos. Huh? To commemorate what exactly? Come on, it'll be fun. Okay, big smile now. Ready? Cheese! Oh my god. Cheese, butter, margarine. Those pictures. After that, I part ways with Mr. Yanagashita and head to a different floor. I don't tell him about being able to see through the scratch cards. The guy really ought to develop a proper work ethic. Hey, come on, wait up! I'm on the escalator to the 3rd floor when I hear someone shouting. I figure it's someone yelling to their kid, but when I turn to look, it was a young man I don't recognize staring right at me. Where are you going? It's not safe for us two to get too separated. What? Who's this weirdo? Is this some new pickup trick or something? I rush up the escalator to get away from the guy. When I get to the restaurant section on the 4th floor, I'm hit with a sudden pang of hunger. Come to think of it, I haven't eaten a thing all day. Is that Sonic in the background? Yo! Alright. Was this game originally done by Sega and then Spike Chunsoft? Or did Spike develop it but Sega were the initial publisher? I'm so hungry, I mutter to myself as I walk around. What should I eat? Then I spot Cherry come out of a Chinese restaurant. Hey, Cherry! She turns to look at me confused. Who are you? Oh, it's me. It's Tama. I thought I recognized that voice, she replies with a nod. Did you eat again? I ask. Well, yeah, but then they kicked me out. Isn't that just terrible? She looks pretty displeased. I came here because they said it was all you can eat, but then they closed shop because they ran out of food. Oh wow, you're right. I spot one of the restaurant staff hanging a close sign on the front door. Man, now my early afternoon snack is ruined. An afternoon snack? At an all-you-can-eat buffet? I can't help but stare at Cherry's midsection, amazed by what that stomach is capable of. By the way, have you seen the boss? She asks. I thought he finally accepted that he needs to buckle down and work, but he's got some crazy new scheme. Guess the guy's just never gonna learn. I figured nothing good's gonna come from associating with him. I'd be careful if I were you too. Huh? Done with her little rant, Cherry says goodbye and heads off among the restaurants. Hitomi? Who said that? Were they talking to me? I turned to see a businessman of some sort staring in my direction. That is Toyama. He is working with the... He's working with them. He's working with them. Fucking asshole. Like everyone I've run into today, I don't recognize him. For some reason, though, I feel relaxed in his presence. Is that you, Hitomi? Hitomi. Could that be my name? Or are you Maria? No, as I fumble for words, the man peers at me with obvious concern. What are you doing in a place like this? We need to get you back home. Your parents are worried sick. My parents? Did someone file a missing person report while I've been wandering around with amnesia? The man leads the way and I follow. Uh-oh. We leave the GIGO building, but head down a narrow alleyway. Then the man suddenly stops. I feel a jolt of anxiety as I notice something gleaming in his hand. It doesn't matter which of the two you are. You're both in the way. He mutters almost as if talking to himself. Right after that, everything goes dark. Fuck. So Toyama is an evil bitch. Man, okay. We gonna need to kill him. After meeting a man who seemed to know her on the restaurant level, our heroine hoped to find out more about her past. Instead, she wound up getting attacked in an alleyway. Ultimately, this all came to pass because she was avoiding that young man who mistook her for Hitomi. If he hadn't come shouting after her, she would have gone on to buy some clothes as she'd originally intended. But... But there was nothing else on Achi's path that would have... So what would have happened if I would have opted to chase her? But there was still a keep out there. I don't know about this one. I just want to see the timeline. Yeah, about 4:30. We did skip some stuff. Maybe it's because of the time she wasted hiding with Yanagashita? I'll go back to that. Okay, we're gonna try something a little different here. So yeah, this time... Because this way she won't be waiting there, so getting involved with those thugs strikes me as a bad idea. I pretend not to know Yanagashita and run off. Tama! Wait up, please! I can still hear him calling pathetically as I scurry away. I didn't get to mention the transparent scratch cards, but that may be for the best. The guy really ought to develop a proper work ethic. So is that enough time to pass? Or rather, does she have... No. Because he's still calling out to her. So what could I have done differently? Really, like, this is... Okay, and also this phone is getting annoying, but alright. Cutting ahead. Okay, I feel like I got a bit of a deadlock going on with these guys, so... Let's see what's going on here. This might lead directly into everything that's going on with Maria. I do not want others intruding into my domain. Accordingly, I do not intrude on others. That is how I've lived my life. That is how I've forged my sense of calm. But something has begun to drive me mad. The boundaries between myself and others have started to collapse. Big mood. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I will become something other than myself. And that is one thing I fear I could never bear. Oh, no, you don't! Kajiwara tackled Tanaka as he strode toward the door. The two men collapsed in a heap in the front entryway. Hey, Tanaka barked. What are you doing? Hold still. Kajiwara ran his bug tracker over Tanaka's body. He began beeping loudly. Aha! Kajiwara pulled off Tanaka's necktie clip. It's a listening device. Tanaka's face went pale. Oh, you fucker. Where did you get this? Kajiwara demanded. Well... Tanaka trailed off into silence. I gave it to him. Oh no, that was you?! I thought it was... Oh, okay, I gave it to him. It was I, who had appeared on the second floor landing. You were listening in? Osawa asked brokenly. Ma'am, Kajiwara said, would you mind explaining this? For once he seemed deadly serious. I was barely able to hear a thing. That's what I get for going with something so cheap. I held out a dangling earpiece. When and where did you get that? Earlier today, when I left to do some shopping. And why did you plant a listening device on Mr. Tanaka? Kajiwara asked. That's what I want to know, Tanaka chimed in. Why would you do this, Mrs. Osawa? He was trembling. You were outside emailing someone earlier, weren't you, Mr. Tanaka? I saw you from the window. Emailing? Kajiwara looked into Tanaka's face. I nodded. He came back into the house shortly afterward, and I asked him where he'd gone. What do you think he said, She was practically gloating, playing to her little audience. She began stalking down the stairs. He said he'd gone to check on something at the lab, despite the fact that he was out in the yard there fiddling with his phone the whole time. So I figured if I bugged him, he might show his true colors and... Enough. Osawa cut his wife off. Tanaka had been emailing Hitomi, of course, but he couldn't reveal that now. I think I get what happened here, Kajiwara interposed. He folded his arms. Your wife thought that Mr. Tanaka was in contact with the kidnappers. And so she planted a listening device on him. The detective peered at Tanaka. Who are you emailing, sir? Yes, that's right, I chirped. Show us your phone, Mr. Tanaka. Let's see what you were really up to. Or is there some reason you don't want to show us? Osawa started to panic. If police checked that cell phone, they'd find the emails from Hitomi. If the kidnappers somehow found out about that, Maria's life would be in danger. But I was still relentlessly advancing on Tanaka. I stopped this. Darling? She turned to him in surprise. Tanaka was sending emails on my behalf, Osawa said. I asked him to do it. And just who was he emailing? It was... He needed to think of a lie fast. It was Pretty Honey. Oh man, this dramatic ass irony just... What was it going? He asked him to do it, so then it was me wouldn't make sense. God damn it. It was someone from work. But sir, Kajiwara was quick to butt in. Why are we zeroing in on the nape of his neck? You fucker! Fucker! Don't you have a computer in your study? Couldn't you have sent the emails yourself? The detective had to choose now of all times to actually be perceptive. I do, and my computer was having problems sending email. I'm not sure what the issue was. Look, the point is there's no reason to worry about Tanaka's emails. There just isn't. I'm telling you. It was a lame excuse, but he had to just keep pressing it. Anyway, I think we can say we're done here, Osawa said. He opened the front door. Now, if you don't mind, I've asked Tanaka to run some errands for me. Tanaka gave him a quick bow and headed out the door. Hey, wait! I started to go after him. Just calm down, Osawa barred the way. There's no way he's connected to the kidnappers, can't you see that? His voice cracked and he shuddered at a sudden rush of emotion. There, sir, Kajiwara said consolingly. She's just deeply worried about your daughter. I turned around and marched back upstairs. Was she really? But still. If she is that worried, giving a tie clip as a gift seems a bit... Clothing accessory meant to hold one's necktie in place. In the old days, they were a quintessential part of the salaryman's outfit, along with cufflinks and the company badge. Recently, the clips have come back into vogue with some older men, now more frequently referred to as tie bars. Tie bars. Kajiwara's muttering trailed off. What do you mean? Osawa asked. Nothing. Not important. The detective waved a hand dismissively, but there had been a definite note of suspicion in his voice. Me too. Sums up. Is I actually a good person? Well, back to work. Kajiwara headed back into the living room. Osawa returned to his study and sat in front of his computer. He had no desire to be in the presence of the detectives who now crowded his living room. The Ayakamiki fan forum for people 40 and over was still open on his monitor. He reloaded the page and saw that his earlier thread had gotten a reply. It was from Pretty Honey, a regular contributor to Osawa's threads. Username of someone who posts regularly on the Ayakamiki fan forum, seems to know a lot about agriculture and the police, as evidenced by statements such as, if the world were a farm with 100 people, as well as a tendency to post to another site called the 87th Precinct Telecommunity. Incidentally, Shinya Kano's girlfriend Rumi also posted the 87th Precinct Telecommunity from time to time. She's had several massive arguments with Pretty Honey there, with the latter criticizing the police for not doing their job, while Rumi insists that police work is very difficult and deserves more credit. This is how we're really getting past his keep out fucking Pretty Honey. Okay. Kuze's voice came in over the wireless as the car came out onto Maijidori. We've identified the owner of the condominium. It's... Holy shit! They're just spelling it out now. Oh my god! Okay, alright. Damn. It's Mamoru Tanaka. He's a colleague of Kenji Osawa. What? Kano squawked. That was an unexpected twist, yes? Kajiwara confirms that Tanaka left the Osawa residence at just after 1400 hours. No word on his movements since then. It's possible he headed to his private condo where the attaché case is slated to end up. And the officer who runs across Tanaka is to apprehend him on sight. Kuze cut the connection. This mastermind you've been chasing, Kano asked. Is it Tanaka? Stanley didn't reply. But then if that's the case, why weren't the police at fucking... Or they didn't know? Or was that why they were stationed there? Just so they could see if Tanaka would show up? Or... okay. Fine, never mind. I just wish I could know if Tateno was safe. Still worried about that traitor, huh? So Stanley could ignore all of his questions, but still remember to make snide remarks. Talking about Tateno's the only thing that gets a reaction out of you, isn't it? Kano snorted. What makes you so certain he can't be a traitor? Tateno just isn't like that. That's not an answer, Stanley scoffed. Alright, I watched the man work for years. I know him. He has no reason to betray the Force. You watched him work, huh? What about his private life, then? You know all about that, too? He hasn't had money trouble or anything like that. Kano felt his blood starting to boil. I don't care what you think, he said. I trust Detective Tateno. Trust him? On what basis? I don't need any basis to have faith in someone, Kano snapped. Without any basis in fact, it's just plain sentimentality, Stanley said. There's no reason or logic to it. A thin smile came to his face. Be they friends or family, you can never really know other people. The only person you can trust is yourself. Kano had no response for such an emotionless statement. He looked away. He and Stanley were just plain incompatible. It seemed like no amount of talking would let them get through to one another. Never take anything at face value, Kano. You start trusting too much, you're basically as good as dead. Kano just stared out the window. The Shibuya precinct came into view. Tanaka's condo wasn't much farther now. They were outside of Tanaka's condo now. Over there, Stanley said, keeping his voice down. Across the street was one of the foreign syndicate members, walking briskly, the attaché case clutched at his side. I'm making the arrest. Kano, wait, Stanley exclaimed. Kano heard him loud and clear, but he had no intention of stopping. He approached with the criminal at full speed. Then leapt to tackle him around the waist. The two men fell to the pavement in a tangled heap. The collision sent the attaché case flying. Kano's eyes tracked the case for a moment too long. He was caught off guard when the man threw a punch at him. The blow caught him right in the jaw, snapping his head back. For a moment, Kano saw stars. As he shook off the impact, the man sprang to his feet and sprinted away in the direction of Stanley's car. Stanley! Kano shouted. But if there's only money in the case, why would that be important? Not to mention the guy didn't go for the case. Get the case. Stanley headed for the attaché case while Kano went after the suspect. Suddenly the fleeing man skidded to a stop. Several cars had pulled across the road ahead and detectives were pouring out of them. His escape route cut off, the criminal resigned himself to capture. While Kano helped make the arrest, several of the other detectives broke into Tanaka's condo. Stanley, meanwhile, was carefully inspecting the exterior of the attaché case. He'd already opened it. It was stuffed with bundles of banknotes. Oh, okay, so it was money. The 50 million yen ransom was back in police hands. This is a decoy, the American muttered under his breath. I wonder where... His words trailed off, but Kano had heard them. What did you expect? The detective demanded. Samples of that new drug in there? As usual, Stanley gave no reply. The look on his face, however, told Kano he'd been right on the mark. Some of the backup team emerged from Tanaka's condo. Kano turned to them, feeling a sudden surge of anxiety for Maria. What's the situation in there? He asked. They told him that they'd found no one in Tanaka's rooms. So the hostage's status remained unknown, and the main culprit had evaded capture. This case hadn't been solved. In fact, it was still unfolding in the worst way conceivable. And still, Stanley remained focused on the attaché case, pondering it with a thoughtful expression. Look, Kano told him, I'm going to request that I be returned to my normal duties. Maria still needs to be rescued. And I still need to find out what happened to Hitomi and Detective Tateno. For once, Stanley actually responded. Hitomi? Yes. That's it. It makes perfect sense that they'd have her carry it. Huh? What do you mean? This whole attaché case relay was a fake-out. Whoa, slow down, Kano said, wishing he could calm himself with his words. Kano, that's what we're going to be pronouncing it now. Explain what you're talking about. Somehow the kidnappers made contact with Kenji Osawa and got him to have Hitomi carry the drug, separate from the ransom. Wait. You're saying they had Hitomi bring them the drug? Stanley nodded. The case handoffs were a sort of camouflage, a way for them to keep the police distracted from their real goal. Kano nodded. It had indeed felt like the case relay was a decoy, an attempt to buy time. Plus, like I caught on, the guy did not go after the case. After it fell from his hands, he just ran. That means the money was never important from the get-go. If this syndicate were after something else entirely, that would explain why so many of their actions had appeared to make no sense. So, Kano asked, what sort of drug is this? Why would they go to such lengths to get their hands on it? It's an antiviral, Stanley replied after some hesitation. A way to cure people infected with a very particular virus. What virus are we talking about? It's called UA. Kano had never heard of it. Still, he could imagine the possibilities. Suppose this UA was something like the Ebola virus. Discovered in Sudan in 1976, infection causes Ebola hemorrhagic fever, resulting in a high fever and massive bleeding throughout the body. At present, there is no vaccine to prevent infection, nor any drug to cure the disease after it manifests. Or perhaps HIV. Human immunodeficiency virus. HIV destroys the cells that are essential for regulating cell-mediated immunity, considerably reducing immune response. This effect can result in infections that would ordinarily be fought off easily, developing into serious illnesses. There are various treatments, but as of yet, nothing that will eradicate the virus completely. Hasn't there been a case of one person being completely cured of HIV, or am I thinking of something different here? I think there has been one, at least one. Oh, no, there's been two. As of March 10th of this year, a man in the UK is the second person cured of HIV. And it seems it was due to a stem cell transplant. So in 2007, a man named Timothy Ray Brown was the first person ever to be declared cured of HIV And then this year in 2020, there was the second person. So that was 2007. Now I'm just looking when this game was released. Because, you know, they must have been looking at the news like, are you fucking serious? Like, right after we did our research and everything, y'all just do that? Oh, no. December 4th, 2008. They had time to update this? Oh, well, okay, no, they didn't say nobody has been cured yet. They just said nothing to completely eradicate the virus. And one person being fully cured at the time probably wouldn't constitute, like, enough to form, like, a basis of this. So, alright, fair enough. Even the all too familiar influenza. An infectious disease caused by the influenza virus. Symptoms are similar to that of the common cold, but are much more severe, occasionally resulting in death. There are 3 main types of the virus, A, B, and C, with A and B causing the typical run of the illness in humans. Neuraminidase is recommended as an effective inhibitor, but this merely alleviates the symptoms and is not a complete cure. There are medicines that could treat all of those diseases, but nothing that could cure them completely. Any drug that could do that would be worth vast sums of money. Kano, do you have any means of getting in touch with Mr. Osawa? Yes, I know one of the detectives stationed at his home. Check in with him ASAP. Find out whether or not he gave the antiviral to Hitomi. Kano suppressed a scowl. It looked like he wasn't done assisting Stanley yet. He got out his cell phone and dialed up Kajiwara. This is getting deep. Kajiwara picked up promptly. Kano, what's going on? Can I speak with Mr. Osawa? I suppose that'd be alright. What for, though? There's something I need him to confirm for me. It's an emergency. Alright. Just make sure not to tell him anything about the investigation. Sure thing. Shouldn't they have updated Kajiwara and them? They haven't been updated? These cops are so inept. What the okay. After a while, a man's hoarse voice came over the line. Osawa speaking. Can I help you? This is Detective Kano from the Shibuya precinct. Time is critical, so I need to just cut to the chase here. Kano took a deep breath. Did you give the antiviral drug to your daughter, Hitomi? Osawa let out a gasp. You can't do this to me! Oh, man, okay. Alright, so a keep out for Kano. What time did that leave off on? A little before 2:30. 2:30. Alright, well then. Going back to you. To that jump point. Okay. Got a reply from Pretty Honey, contributor. I'm opposed to the idea of Ayakamiki expanding into America. She should be able to enjoy the success she's earned in Japan without having to struggle overseas. Aya has done so much for us. It's like her to keep supporting Japan forever. Yeah. The message was festooned with the sort of emoticons that a young girl might use. Pretty Honey claimed to be a 19-year-old female college student. Although the community was meant for Ayakamiki fans 40 and over, the settings allowed anyone to post there. The only young woman among the members, however, was Pretty Honey. The thread continued. By the way, have you tried the Aya fortune teller yet? Here's a link below. Fortune telling, huh? The practice of determining a person's future, luck, or life events using cards, horoscopes, and or other methods of divination. Most people believe such prognostication when it foretells something good, and don't believe it when the outlook is bad. That's about as much faith in fortune telling as someone should have. Yay, I'm kinda lucky. Alright. Osawa stared. Should he ask it whether Maria was safe? Okay, that does make sense. Alright, I was like, if it gave him a good answer, he'd believe it. If it were a bad answer, he wouldn't. It might be worth a shot just for the peace of mind it'd bring. He clicked the link, and the Eye of Fortune Teller page came up. It asked you to enter your birth date and sex, and then Ayakamiki would offer her advice. Osawa followed the instructions, entering his date of birth, selecting male, and then clicking next. A few seconds later, his fortune was displayed. You're a very work-minded person. He'd hoped for some insight on Maria, but instead it was just a write-up about his personality. You'd never be able to get by without the devoted support of those around you, but you probably don't realize that, do you? It's a big mistake to think you can get through all of life's challenges on your own. There's nothing cool about being ignorant. If you don't get over your indifference to the world might start to harbor quite a grudge. Find a way to connect more deeply with the people around you and start living a better life before it's too late. Just do that, and you're sure to have a wonderful future ahead. Famous people who got your result: Shinosuke Orai, playwright, the head of the Wandering Angels Theater Troupe. He has an interview appointment with Minoru Minorikawa at 2:30 this afternoon. Oh god. Hopefully the computer can get fixed up by then. Osawa couldn't help but feel that the advice was painfully appropriate. He went back to the forum and replied to Pretty Honey. Nice to hear from you again, Pretty Honey. I definitely know how you feel about Ayakamiki being ours. Still, I'm confident she's got what it takes to persevere and succeed in America. And if she does fail, well, all of us in Japan will be here to welcome her back all the same. Guess this voyage to America I've concocted just has me a little worked up. Osawa clicked post and leaned back in his chair. Mr. Osawa! Mr. Osawa! It's Kajiwara, shouting from outside the door. First the toilet, then lunch. What is it now? There's been a development in the case. Please join us in the living room. We have important matters to discuss. Kajiwara had his detective face on. When Osawa entered the living room, I was already there, looking stern and solemn. Now that you're both here, Kajiwara said, allow me to share what we know. Okay, so they did relay the information to them. We've identified a location that appears to be the Syndicate's hideout. You have? What about Maria? Is she there? Osawa exclaimed. We still haven't been able to ascertain whether your daughter is safe. Well then, what were these important matters you needed to discuss? Osawa felt a wave of anxiety rush through him. The hideout in question is a condominium in Hiru. And it's owned by... By whom? Mr. Osawa, please calm down. Tell me. Go on, out with it. Kajiwara took a deep breath. The residence is owned by Mamoru Tanaka. Osawa was speechless. Oh shit! He couldn't process what he was hearing. Tanaka? Lies! I shrieked. Just what are you implying? That Mr. Tanaka's the kidnapper? Where's your proof? With all due respect, ma'am, weren't you suspicious of Mr. Tanaka yourself? Well, I suppose, but... You did go so far as to stick a listening device on him. Flustered, I withdrew into a vacant silence. sudden ringing of the phone startled everyone in the room. Was that Tanaka? No, it couldn't be. There was no way. The phone was wiretapped. The detective wearing the headset nodded to Kajiwara, who in turn motioned for Osawa to pick up. Hello? He said cautiously. Hello. Is this the home of Maria Osawa? The voice was not Tanaka's. Osawa didn't recognize it, but the veil of despair that hung before him thinned slightly. Is this the home of Hitomi Osawa? This time the man on the phone used Hitomi's name instead. Yes, that's right. The caller immediately hung up. As Osawa stood there dumbstruck, Kajiwara gently took the receiver and hung up the phone. One of the detectives addressed Kajiwara. We traced the source of the call to a cell phone. Also, we've pinpointed the base station used. Inform Director Kuze so he can prepare a team just in case. Just in case? Osawa asked. What do you mean by that? Kajiwara frowned slightly. Just because this is a kidnapping case doesn't mean that every phone call comes from the kidnapper. We'll look into it, of course, but... I see. Besides, right now, confirming Mr. Tanaka's whereabouts takes priority. Don't you agree? Osawa nodded. Excuse me for a moment. And back. Alright, just looked over at OBS to make sure I was recording this right. Alright. Someone should call him, the detective added. I'll do it. I got out her cell phone and dialed up Tanaka. Where's Mr. Tanaka headed? Kajiwara asked. He eyed Osawa keenly. Now's not the time to be protective. I don't actually know. Even leaving out the part about Hitomi, that was still the truth. If Tanaka was behind the kidnapping, Osawa knew he ought to tell the police about the blue minivan and the emails from his daughter. But part of him still trusted Tanaka deep down. He couldn't bring himself to reveal it all. We have investigators en route to Tanaka's condominium, Kajiwara said. Let's wait for them to report in. We have investigators en route to Tanaka's condominium, Kajiwara said. Let's wait for them to report in. Why did that repeat? On the far side of the room, I was squawking in frustration. Despite several attempts, she hadn't been able to get through to Tanaka. Kajiwara's phone rang and he pulled it from his pocket. Kano? What's going on? He headed into the corner as he spoke into the receiver. Suppose that'd be alright. What for, though? After a few more quiet words, Kajiwara held his phone out to Osawa. One of the investigators on the scene would like to speak with you. Frowning in confusion, Osawa took hold of the phone. Osawa speaking. Can I help you? This is Detective Kano from the Shibuya precinct. Time is critical, so I need to just cut to the chase here. There was a pause as the speaker took a deep breath before continuing. Did you give the antiviral drug to your daughter Hitomi? What? Osawa was so startled that his voice caught in his throat. What are you talking about? The antiviral research was top secret. So how did some detective from the Shibuya precinct know about it? Oh my god, just cutting back and forth. This shit is getting crazy, yo. I don't know. The antiviral drug to your daughter, Hitomi. Osawa let out a gasp. What are you talking about? I'm the one asking the questions here, Mr. Osawa. Did you give the antiviral drug to your daughter, Hitomi? I'm not sure I understand the question. Osawa's voice trembled as he spoke. Kano was sure he'd hit the nail right on the head. I know what this syndicate is really after, Mr. Osawa. Yes! It's Hitomi. Osawa remained silent. Oh, fucking shit. Just... What? So throw, what are you talking about? And if our research was top secret, so how did some detective from Shibuya Precinct know about it? Osawa was bewildered. I'm the one asking the questions here, Mr. Osawa. Did you give the antiviral drug to your daughter Hitomi? I'm not sure I understand the question. I know what the syndicate is really after, Mr. Osawa. Osawa's mind went blank when he heard what Kano said next. He could give no reply. Wait. So they tried to get... Hitomi from the start. Because they're twins, they caught Maria, saw they didn't need her, and then just like left her by the wayside and she woke up with amnesia? This is getting crazy. Mr. Osawa. The detective continued after a moment. Is everything alright? Without really thinking, Osawa hung up. Osawa staggered out of the living room. He needed to be alone. To his surprise, Kajiwara didn't try to stop him. Shutting his study door behind him, he dropped onto his sofa, then grabbed 3 times his normal dosage of stomach pills. There was no water in the room, so he had to swallow them dry. Detective Kano's words echoed in his mind. I know what the syndicate is really after, Mr. Osawa. It's Hitomi. There was only one reason they could be after Hitomi. He broke out in a cold sweat as he began to understand what this kidnapping was really about. It had all started 6 days earlier. It was April 22nd. Osawa had just returned from the United States the day before. He was in the midst of some routine work at the General Research Lab when his cell phone rang. The LCD display showed an unlisted caller. With some hesitation, Osawa picked up. Hello? Is this Kenji Osawa? The caller was using a voice modulator, a type of device or software used to make one's voice sound different. Changing a voice to the point of making a voice print or tone analysis impossible presents a major challenge. To be able to do so in real time requires major financial and technological resources. Osawa raised an eyebrow. Yes? Go and analyze Hitomi's blood. Her blood? If you don't, she's going to die. With that, the caller hung up. There was an intensity behind this that made Osawa sure it wasn't just some prank call. He had Hitomi come to the lab ASAP. He told Hitomi he wanted a sample of her blood for an experiment. She agreed, suspecting nothing. He placed some of the blood he'd drawn onto a glass slide, then added some fluorescein and a type of fluorescent dye. A fluorescein, a yellow-green liquid, a type of fluorescent dye, chiefly used in preparing specimens for viewing under a fluorescent microscope, but it has other uses as well, such as a diagnostic reagent administered in eye exams. Its highest volume use is on St. Patrick's Day, when massive amounts of fluorescein are used to dye the Chicago River green. I think that was used on me when I had like an eye injury, like the year before last, I think. Sounds about right. Anyway. Oh no, I didn't finish reading. A type of dye that causes the dyed substance to emit higher wavelength fluorescent light when illuminated with a certain other type of light. Such dyes can reveal fine details when used on specimens viewing through a fluorescent microscope. Placing the slide under a fluorescence microscope, he took a look. It can't be. Osawa could hardly believe his eyes. Wriggling under the microscope was the Grim Reaper's sickle itself. There was no mistaking it. Hitomi was infected with the UA virus. Trembling, Osawa hurried to his computer. He opened the UA virus folder on his monitor. but then were images showing the stages of the virus's propagation. He double-clicked to magnify the first image. The Reaper's sickles were interlocked with one another. He clicked on the next image. After further propagation, the uovirus looked less like a sickle, more a sort of insectoid larva. Next was the final image. Interlocked into a single mass, the uovirus vaguely resembled a sinister, many-petaled sunflower. It took a mere 12 hours for the pathogen to develop to this point, and began its hideous destruction of the human body. Hitomi's infection sample was still in the state shown in the first image. There was still a chance to save her. Osawa slumped back in his chair, huddling in on himself. He had no choice. There was only one way to save Hitomi, so he did. So it wasn't a test subject thing. He just did it. Well, okay, I mean, it is a test subject situation, but it was to legit save her life. So he did infect her. Or rather, no, he did inject her with the antiviral. He would have to administer the nearly completed antiviral. Using the antiviral without official approval was a grievous violation of company policy. Acting against company rules and regulations, Okoshi Pharmaceutical prohibits leaking work-related information to outsiders. In the case of a major violation, not only can the violator be fired, but the company may also seek indemnities. Still, Osawa didn't have time to get the higher-ups to approve a clinical trial. He might be punished severely for it, but this was his only option. His daughter's life was at stake. But there was also another, even bigger hurdle in his way. The antiviral drug was stored in the deepest recesses of the biochemical research building. A high-intensity X-ray scanner was set up at the entrance to the storage area. This made it impossible for him to take research materials out. A type of radiation, also referred to as Röntgen rays. Well, alright, Röntgen, because German. With a shorter wavelength than UV light, but a longer wavelength than gamma rays. Oh no, the electromagnetic spectrum. Because X-rays can penetrate many objects with little absorption or scattering, they can be used to create images of internal structure. Hospitals, for example, use X-ray technology to examine the insides of patients' bodies, while security personnel use it to scan luggage at airports and to search for bombs. Well, if he couldn't get the antiviral out of there, he'd just have to bring Hitomi in. A course of action quickly took shape in his mind. First, he'd need to slip out of the general research building. He would then head to the biochemical research facility and show his ID card to the guard at the front gate. Identification card. Many facilities that carry out highly classified research assign different levels of security clearance to individual researchers, and only those with suitable clearance, as indicated by their ID cards, are admitted to restricted areas. Development of more advanced technologies such as electronic ID tags are replacing older barcode-type entry cards. Oh, look at this Doom 3D thing they got going on here. After passing through a lobby under the watchful gaze of several security cameras, he'd reach an elevator at the end of the hall that went directly to the storage section. This elevator required an ID card scan to operate. It would take about 20 seconds to get down to the first basement level and arrive at the entrance to the storage area. Finding an excuse to get Hitomi that far ought to be doable. If the security guard got suspicious, Osawa could say it was for a top-secret hematology experiment, and the guard would probably believe him. The problem was what came after. Getting into the storage area itself required fingerprint authentication from both Osawa and Tanaka. This meant that he couldn't possibly get to the antiviral without Tanaka's cooperation. Desperate with uncertainty, Osawa called up Tanaka. He frantically explained the situation. Understood, Tanaka replied. We need to get her this drug as soon as possible. If the company finds out about this, you'll be held accountable for violation of corporate policy along with me. Are you sure you're okay with that? What are you talking about? Hitomi's life is more important than company policy. Tanaka spoke without hesitation. Osawa felt an immense surge of gratitude for his assistant. And I have to say, I'm deeply moved by your determination, Tanaka added. Moved? Whatever for. You really are worried about Hitomi. Osawa's gratitude faded. What are you talking about? Of course I am. My apologies. It's just that putting your career on the line for something so personal is what? It's not like me? No. Well, yes. I'm sorry. Now Tanaka's voice was colored with embarrassment. Just what sort of person do you think I am? Osawa resisted the urge to ask the question out loud. A short time later, Osawa and Tanaka stood before the door to the secure storage area. The security guard had let them in without the slightest suspicion. Osawa pressed his index finger to the fingerprint scanner first. Accepted. He realized he'd been holding his breath as his authorization finally went through. Half a moment later, Tanaka touched his own finger to the scanner plate. Accepted. The lock released with an audible clang and the heavy door opened. Osawa hurried to retrieve the antiviral. As he picked up a small vial, he had a sudden realization. They were finally going to use the drug in a human test. His fatherly wish to cure Hitomi was overlaid by an intense rush of curiosity. The researcher's drive to discover his results. Hurry. I need to hurry. I need to administer the antiviral as soon as possible. Osawa could hardly fend off his excitement. Over the course of the next few hours following the injection, the UA virus would be eradicated from Hitomi's body. There had been some fever and cramping as temporary side effects, but the DDS had done a spectacular job of stomping out the virus. Drug delivery system, also known as smart drug delivery. The ability to target a specific region of the body with a specific drug has momentous implications for the future of medicine. DDS technology is currently being tested extensively around the world. In saving his daughter's life, Osawa had proven the value of his research. If he had been asked which made him happier, he would have been hard-pressed to give an answer. Afterwards, he asked Hitomi what she could have, or where she could have become infected, but she had no idea. He explained the need for secrecy and strictly forbade her telling anyone else what had happened. Okay, so I thought she was an active carrier right now, which is why the guy with the cane was like, she's better off dead. Now, a week had passed since Osawa gave the drug to Hitomi. He'd been conducting checks and had discovered that the DDS had not broken down, but remained in Hitomi's bloodstream. Extracting the DDS was a simple matter, requiring just a small blood sample from around the nape of the neck. The DDS tends to linger in the nape of the neck because of the lymph nodes located there. These lymph nodes identify viruses that invade the body as foreign substances to be attacked, but they are not always able to overcome particularly powerful pathogens. In such cases, the virus propagates rapidly inside of them. Once the patient has been treated, the antiviral will seek out the virus and accumulate there as well. The DDS itself was simply the delivery system for the antiviral drug. Residual amounts of the antiviral itself stayed behind within the cells. The materials used to create the DDS must, as a matter of course, cause minimal or no harm to the human body. Ideally, rather than accumulate inside the body, DDS substances should be either digested and absorbed or excreted, because the antiviral must remain in the body for as long as the virus is active. However, a very careful balance must be struck between persistence and dissipation. Using the DDS, it was possible to extract those minuscule amounts from cells in a blood sample. It might take considerable time, but a sufficiently detailed analysis could allow for the antiviral drug itself to be reconstructed. Osawa felt a chill as he contemplated the situation. The kidnappers had known how tough security was at the lab, so they'd come up with the idea of using a human vessel to get what they needed from within. By infecting Hitomi with the Uwa virus, they'd ensured that she'd receive the antiviral, that she'd have it in her blood. If Tanaka was working with the kidnappers, it explained why he'd been so cooperative about the fingerprint scanner. "Damn it!" Osawa shouted. He clutched his head in his hands. Tanaka had been his partner and trusted confidant for years. Osawa refused to believe he'd been betrayed like this. Uh-oh. The front door chime sounded. "Mr. Osawa," Kajiwara called out. "It appears you have a visitor. Could you handle that?" What? Who could it possibly be now of all times? All right. With a sigh, Osawa dragged himself to his feet. He stumbled wearily back to the living room where the investigators were staring at the intercom monitor with concern. The intercom's hidden camera showed a man with an unsettling grin posed intimidatingly outside the front gate. Osawa didn't recognize him. "Yes, who is it?" he asked guardedly through the intercom. "It's Minorikawa." "Where might I know you from, Mr. Minorikawa?" "Oh, you know, here and there. I mean, there's only one Minorikawa, really." "Are you playing games with me?" "I don't have the time for that. Please just open up." "There's no way I'm letting you in," Osawa said, but the nonsensical badgering continued. "Look, just hold your horses. I'm here for an interview. You got that?" "An interview?" "That's right. It's a piece for the 4-star General Gossip." The name of the magazine brought up an unpleasant memory. That was the gossip rag that had ran the article about his political marriage. "Wait. This is for one of those kinds of articles." "What do you mean? Those kinds of articles? I'm just looking for an interview." The man's tone was both high-handed and belligerent. "Like hell you are. I'm not talking to anyone from the gossip." "You're not the one I'm here to talk to. I want to interview your twin daughters." "My daughters?" "I understand they won a shared prize for a beauty contest at Midoriyama Academy. If you wouldn't mind my interviewing them, Furious, Osawa cut off the intercom. This was no time to be indulging someone else's nonsense. "Hey, what gives?" The man was shouting so loud his voice carried out past the gate through the front door. "I'm begging out here, on my hands and knees." He wasn't actually on his hands and knees. Osawa could see that clearly through the intercom monitor. "If your daughters aren't home, can you at least tell them I want to get in touch with them?" "Mr. Osawa," Kajiwara said, frowning. "This isn't a good time to have someone drawing attention to your home." "All right, I'll get rid of him." Osawa hurried out of the house, confronting Minorikawa through the front gate. Yeah, because I need to actually do like Minorikawa stuff to get here. The journalist had that tenacious look that immediately marked him as a member of the media. "Give me your business card," Osawa said. "I'll have to get in touch with you later." He took Minorikawa's card, then went right back inside. Back in the study, Osawa tossed Minorikawa's business card into the trash. Unable to think of what else to do, he tried the internet fortune teller again. He got the same "you're a very work-minded person" result a second time. "If you don't get over your indifference to the world might start to harbor quite a grudge." My indifference to the world around me, huh? The truth was that, even with his closest companions, even with Tanaka, for instance, his relationship had always been strictly a matter of business. He'd never really taken it upon himself to get to know Tanaka as a person. And that was pretty much the case for everyone he knew. He harbored no interest in other people. He had no concern for his fellow man. That had made itself abundantly clear when he received a microscope as a birthday present way back in first grade. Even now, he still remembered the shock he'd felt when he looked through that lens for the first time. He discovered a new, almost infinite world hidden in the midst of one he'd always thought was too small. By comparison, the real world seemed bland and ugly. Wherever he looked, wherever he went, he had to contend with tedium. It hadn't taken long for him to become more charmed by the world under his microscope than the one around him. It was like a calm, quiet little seaside, a beach where he could just sit and stare out at the waves. He wanted to stay immersed in that world forever and ever. Before he knew it, he was an adult, and then a husband, and then a father. The people around him thought him an odd fellow, but he hadn't let that change the way he lived his life. And this now was the result. He hadn't been betrayed by Tanaka. He didn't know Tanaka well enough for that. Find a way to connect more deeply with the people around you and start living a better life before it's too late. Just do that and you're sure to have a wonderful future ahead. Osawa picked up his cell phone and dialed Tanaka's number. I had tried calling him repeatedly and hadn't gotten through. It was doubtful that he'd pick up. Still, Osawa had to try. The phone rang several times. He listened grimly to the empty mechanical sound, preparing himself for disappointment. What is it? Tanaka's voice sounded coldly in Osawa's ear. The tension was electric. Why? Stop telling me to keep out. Why would he answer? Well, the only one that leaves is Minorikawa. That's only 2:35? Holy crap, this is going to be a long one. Okay, a lot's been going down. Let's try out Minorikawa, see what's going on with him and his computer. No! Minorikawa's cry of despair echoed throughout the cafe. His laptop monitor stared back at him, black and empty. I like how he's pointing at it. He just points at everything. He would be an amazing Phoenix Wright cosplayer. Don't you dare die on me, buddy. He jabbed his finger sharply at the screen. But the computer gave no response, looking well and truly dead. What the hell? Minorikawa pounded his fist on the table. This would be a worst-case scenario even if he weren't desperately pressed for time. Guess I'll just have to write this by hand then. He rummaged around inside his bag and pulled out a notebook. I can still do this, he shouted, doing his best to psych himself up for the task ahead. I will still do this. Excuse me, sir? The waitress appeared, timidly beside him. What? Minorikawa snapped, his pen still flying across the paper. Sir, if you could please quiet down. My damn computer just broke. I'm allowed a screamer too? Minorikawa was in no state of mind to be quiet. If it weren't for the deadline he was racing to meet, he'd probably have gone on screaming until he passed out. Your computer is broken, you say? The waitress peered at the monitor. Yeah, look! It just suddenly stopped displaying anything. Could it be that, the battery is just dead? That was my thought. Minorikawa sat bolt upright. That's it! The points. The waitress flinched as Minorikawa's finger jabbed toward her face. God. All of his screen caps are so good. I hadn't considered that possibility. Hey, let me plug in somewhere. There's an outlet right there, sir. She pointed at an outlet by Minorikawa's feet, making no attempt to hide her exasperation. Minorikawa plugged in the power cable and the monitor sprang to life as normal. Called it. So, that's sorted. Would you please be quiet, sir? Don't talk to me, you're interfering with my writing! Minorikawa's fingers had already begun dancing across his keyboard. With a sigh, the waitress disappeared back into the kitchen. Oh yeah, now we're talking. His fingers picked up speed as he went about touch typing. The act of typing at a keyboard without looking at the keys. The aspiration of computer novices everywhere. The typical method involves placing the index fingers on the F and J keys, with the middle ring and pinky fingers resting on the A, S, and D, or A, S, and D, or K, I... Wait, fuck, no. A, S, and D, or K, L, and semicolon, keys to either side, from which all other keys are easily reached. With practice, a touch typist can instinctively hit the correct key each time without looking. Don't know nothing about that, fam. Pros and cons of surveillance cameras. Proprietor of outdated electronics shop, oversees high-tech camera system. Bedlam at bogus weight loss drink sales demo. Bankrupted organizer remains undiscouraged. Now Minorikawa's spirits were riding high. His writing rolled along at a brisk pace. Sir? It was a waitress again, her voice yanking Minorikawa right out of his soaring mood. Sir? Now what? Has the President of the United States agreed to give me a one-on-one interview? Waitress's eyes went wide with confusion. Huh? Because unless it's something that important, do not speak to me right now. But she was undeterred. Sir, please, if you could just be a little quieter. Minorikawa's fingers ceased their rattling across the keys. Just what sound do you have a problem with? All I've been doing is writing a copy. Well, for the last while actually, you've been talking while you write, sir. Talking? Minorikawa tilted his head in confusion. Yes, sir, you've been talking about an electronics store and some bogus weight loss drink. I assume that's what you're writing about? You're saying I've been narrating my copy aloud while writing it? That's right, sir. Other customers sitting nearby were openly snickering. Well, so what? He snapped. He was red in the face now. You should all be delighted that you get to hear what I'm writing before the magazine goes to print. Well, actually, sir, one of our customers has been complaining. Complaining? Of all the nerve, who was it? Where are they? Minorikawa scanned the other patrons, many of whom were unsuccessfully trying to hide their laughter. It was me. Oh, him. It was a grumpy older fellow who'd been making a scene earlier. Bogus diet fads, peeping security cameras. Reminds me of that sleazy tabloid 4-star general gossip I hate so much. Oh, you sure seem to know a lot about it for something you hate so much. The man's face twisted up with scorn. Your behavior is bothering everyone in here, he said. Do you not understand that? No, I don't. Guess a reporter who writes nothing but nonsense prefers nonsense in everything he does. Minorikawa could feel his blood boiling. What was that? Go on, say that again. Oh, gladly. Nonsense, filth, codswallop, flim flam. You bastard! How dare you! Minorikawa stormed over to the man's table. Flim flam indeed. Bogus or insincere content. Few things anger Minorikawa more than reporters using dishonest means to create a story. Having his own work called Flim Flam would naturally make him blow his top. Just who are you calling Flim Flam? The other man stood up and glowered at Minorikawa's face. You utterly lack any manners or sense of decency for starters. I have plenty of manners and decency. I also happen to have a deadline. Bah, as if a Flim Flam artist like you has work ethic. Stop calling me Flim Flam! The waitress inserted herself between the two men. Gentlemen, please, stop fighting. I demand that you remove this man at once, the older fellow barked. He's the one you should be kicking out, Minorikawa shouted back. By now he's ready to go for this guy's throat. Please, the waitress pleaded, both of you return to your seats. She grabbed onto Minorikawa and began to forcibly drag him back to his table. No, because that'll get you kicked out. You're on a deadline, my dude. Okay, just calm down. Minorikawa did his best to swallow his pride. Whatever, he huffed. I don't have time for this anyway. He stalked back to his seat. The other man snorted and sat down with a scowl. The needless interruption, just when he'd finally gotten into writing mode, had all but killed Minorikawa's motivation. He decided he needed to take a breather. He turned to the waitress. No, he didn't. He just pointed at her. "1 spaghetti Napolitan, please." Spaghetti flavored with tomato ketchup. Napolitan is a corruption of Neapolitan, though the dish itself has no connection to the Italian city of Naples, Napoli. Rather, it originated as a menu item in a hotel in Yokohama shortly after World War II. There is also a spaghetti dish from Nagoya called Milanese, which likewise has no connection to the Italian city of Milan. He might not have a lot of spare time, but working on an empty stomach wouldn't do him any favors. While waiting for his order to come out, he decided to read back over the copy he'd written so far. What? When he looked back at the monitor, the screen was black yet again. Looking down at his feet, he saw that the power cable was now unplugged. "Hey, what kind of cafe are you people running here?" he shouted. We just hurried over, looking combative. "Sir, you yanked that out yourself when you stood up earlier." "What? A likely story." "It's the truth, sir." Minorikawa pointed at one of the customers sitting next to him. "Is she telling the truth? Did I really yank my power cord out myself?" The man nodded sheepishly. "Yeah, well, then that's the outlet's fault for being someplace where it unplugged so easily," Minorikawa squawked. The waitress marched away, head held high. "Just make sure that spaghetti's delicious," Minorikawa shouted after her. He is really becoming unbearable. "Do that and I'll consider us even. Oh, and load it with cheese. Lots of cheese." He plugged the power cable back in, then let out a heavy sigh. In all his writing fervor, he hadn't thought to save his work. Yeah, that's important. Always make sure to save your work to avoid losing data. Honestly, why is it that your computer only seems to freeze when you've forgotten to save your stuff? He was probably going to have to rewrite most of what he'd done. "Excuse me." Minorikawa looked up to see a young woman standing there. "I'm so sorry," she said. "About my father." She gave a tiny bow. "Your father? Oh, the rude old man." "He's just a little worked up right now. Please don't pay him any mind." "So what? You waiting on your boyfriend?" "Huh?" The woman was taken aback. "I happened to hear you two arguing earlier. Would have been about 2 hours ago." "Oh, I see." An awkward, embarrassed smile came to the woman's face. "I thought he was going to ask my father for permission to marry me, so we've been waiting for him, but..." "But he hasn't shown up?" "No. He must be really busy." She cast her eyes down sadly. Minorikawa took a better look at her. She was gorgeous. A woman with her looks wasn't something he saw every day, that was for sure. "Say, would you mind talking with me for a bit?" he asked. "Me?" "Yeah. I kind of need to turn my mood around here." "Well, okay, at least until my father gets back." The woman cast an anxious look toward the restrooms. "What's your name?" "Rumi." She sat down across from him. "Wait a second! Aren't you..." Minorikawa peered at Rumi's face. Sorry, I thought I was about to say pointed, because that's exactly what he's doing. What the frickin' teacup? Amazing. "One of those twins that was chosen as Miss Midoriyama?" "Oh." Rumi shook her head. "No, not me." "No? Darn, didn't think I'd be that lucky." He took a sip of his now cold coffee. "I do know the girls you're talking about, though," Rumi said. Oh my god. Minorikawa spat out his coffee in surprise. Rumi squawked in alarm as the spray splattered her face. Minorikawa leaned in unconcerned. Oh my god. "You mean it? You really know them?" "Yes," Rumi replied. "You're talking about the Osawa twins, right?" She got out a handkerchief and wiped the coffee from her face as she spoke. They're not showing her face. Like, ever. What's going on here? "Osawa, huh?" Minorikawa glanced down at the project proposal on the table. "Sexy Squared. Twins share top prize at local university beauty contest. Minoriyama Academy. Maria and Hitomi Osawa." "Yes, that's it." The Osawa twins! Actually, won Miss Midoriyama myself a few years ago. This year I served as one of the judges. Minorikawa adopted a self-satisfied pose. Guess I really was born under the right sign to be a freelancer. The leads just come to me.
Sure, Rumi muttered.
Okay, let's talk basics then. Tell me what you know about these girls.
Well, I don't really know them personally,
Rumi continued to dab at the coffee on her face.
But now that you ask, I do remember hearing that they'd entered the contest separately.
Wait, separately? Now Minorikawa was a bit confused.
Yes, that's right. I'd assumed they entered as a pair, but apparently not.
I wonder why. I mean, they're twins. Don't they look alike? Wear the same clothes? Do everything together? And say the same things at the same time and stuff? You'd never been around twins.
Rumi chuckled and shook her head. No, not at all. Besides, those two aren't identical. They're fraternal twins, she said.
They're not identical? Twins who were born at the same time from two eggs that were fertilized separately. Fraternal twins do not share the same genetic information. They can differ in such characteristics as sex and blood type. Oh, that's going to play into the virus shit. Though there are cases of fraternal twins resembling one another almost as closely as identical twins. Maria and Hitomi Osawa happen to look very closely alike, but they do not have the same blood type. The fact that they stressed that.
Although at a glance they do look very similar. Still, how should I put this? They both give off a very different impression.
Even identical twins can have different personalities. I mean, oh? Now that sounds interesting. Might explain what you mean.
Minorikawa opened his memo pad. I talked to them briefly after the award ceremony. The older sister struck me as really energetic, but the younger one was more quiet and reserved.
Minorikawa's investigative senses were tingling. I wouldn't figure a shy girl would want to enter a campus beauty contest.
I suppose not, no.
Yeah. I don't suppose you've got anything juicier? Minorikawa asked.
Rumi frowned. Would you like to just go ask them yourself? She said. They don't live very far from here.
Whoa, hold the phone. Minorikawa could hardly believe what had just fallen into his lap. The advance info in the project proposal had mentioned the girls were students at Midoriyama, but hadn't given an actual address. If he could talk to them directly, now that would be pay dirt. You know where they live?
Well, not exactly. I just heard that they lived in Shoto.
Aha, Shoto! It wasn't far away. Car and motorcycle could get there in about 10 minutes. It'd be quicker than going to Midoriyama Academy, and he'd be able to meet with the girls themselves. Minorikawa flashed a quick look toward the restroom. It looked like Rumi's father had just gotten back.
Sorry, she said. I should be going.
No problem. And thank you.
Rumi gave him a quick nod, then hurried back to her seat. Minorikawa grabbed the directory from the public phone and flipped through the pages. To his surprise, there were only 5 listings for the name Osawa with addresses in Shoto. There was neither Maria nor Hitomi, but he hadn't expected there to be. He needed to find their parents. Wasting no time, he called up the first Osawa on the list.
Bingo! That was him placing the call. When everybody was silent, it was like, is this the Osawa residence? Or did that call happen before? No, because the detectives were all quiet and were watching. So that was him. Alright, bingo! Minorikawa couldn't help but pump his fist in excitement. He got in the right place on his first try. Way to go, me! He committed the house number listed in the phone book to memory. Just then, the waitress reappeared with a disgruntled expression and Minorikawa's order of spaghetti Napolitan.
Here you are, sir.
Oh-ho! The pasta was piled high with an impressive amount of grated cheese. Doesn't look half bad. It looked almost like a miniature mountain of snow.
You did say lots of cheese, sir, the waitress told him.
She set down a canister of cheese and a bottle of Tabasco. Oh my god.
Sounds so good. A sauce made by the US-based McIlhenny Company, consisting of hot peppers, grain vinegar, and rock salt, known for its distinctive spiciness. It can make spaghetti and pizza quite tasty with the addition of just a few drops. Tabasco also goes pretty well with ramen and curry. Recommended for times when flavor is lacking a little punch. However, even one drop may be too much for those who can't handle spicy things. It has been claimed that Tabasco was first imported to Japan by a certain well-known former pro wrestler, but this story is untrue. Bruiser Brody? What? Ooh, this looks good, Minorikawa exclaimed. He twirled some spaghetti up with his fork and shoved it into his mouth. The slightly sour sweetness of the ketchup blended perfectly with the mellow flavor of the cheese. Oh, that is tasty. There's nothing like satisfying grub to lift the spirits. He turned back to his laptop, still wolfing down the spaghetti. Alright, we're back in action, let's do this. Yet again, he unthinkingly blurted his words aloud as he slipped back into writing mode. I've got this. I've got this. With ketchup smeared around his mouth, he set his fingers tapping away at the keys. I'm mad they do not have a picture. The waitress let out another groan of dismay. Oh my god. Huh? You say something? Minorikawa glanced in her direction, but the waitress faked a smile. No, sir, I don't think so. Yeah? Well then go away. You're distracting me. The moment he looked away, she clenched her fist in indignation. He gonna get beat up. Nothing, sir. Good luck with your work, sir. I don't need luck. I've got this. Eyes jumping back and forth between pasta and computer, Minorikawa got to work on his copy once more. Before long, he was oblivious to every sound in the cafe around him. When he finally snapped out of writing mode, he glanced at his watch. It was 2:20. Almost time for him to head to his next interview. Better get a move on. Kimizuka's taxi came by just as Minorikawa was hurrying out of the cafe. Well, what a pleasant surprise, Minorikawa called out. Nice timing, my man. Kimizuka's startled look quickly vanished behind an expression of professional resignation. Do you want a ride, or do you need a ride, sir? You know it, Minorikawa replied. First, head to Shoto. After that, I'll need to get to Sakuragaoka. As he cast his gaze out at the sights of the city, Minorikawa mulled over his plan for the next part of the day. First, he'd interview the Miss Midoriyama girls. Then he'd meet with the head of that theater troupe. In order to leave himself enough time to write his copy, that meant... I'd like to get this all wrapped up in 20 minutes, he said. Can you make that happen? Kimizuka flashed a grin. That will incur a special fare, sir. Oh, special, Minorikawa said as he got settled in his seat. I love that word. Kimizuka stepped on the gas. Shibuya was a town of contrasts. It was a town of young people, unpretentious, energetic. The Scramble intersection and Center Guy perfectly conveyed that vibrancy. However, if one turned right at the 109 building and headed down Bunkamuradori, the town's whole atmosphere changed. Shoto was one of Shibuya's, indeed one of Tokyo's, most upscale resident districts. Wherever one looked, there were stately manor houses giving off an imposing air, sending the message that this was no place for the common folk. Right here's fine. Minorikawa directed Kimizuka to pull over. Wait here for me. I'll be right back. Hopping out of the taxi, he checked the nameplate of the nearby homes. Ah, here we go. He spotted a nameplate that read Osawa. Kenji Osawa, huh? The name nagged at him, somehow. It had been in the back of his mind ever since he had seen it in the phone book back at the cafe. Had he heard it someplace before? He walked up to the gate and pressed the wait. Never mind, I read that incorrectly. He walked up the to gate.
and pressed the button for the intercom. Even the little chime it made when pressed sounded elegant. Minorikawa waited, but there was no response. He looked at his watch. It was 2:30 now. His interview with Shinosuke Orai of the Wandering Angels was supposed to have started already. Episode 3. With help from Shinichi Bando, Mondo was able to get out of his apartment. Then, when all the players had finally assembled, the troupe proceeded with one last rehearsal before showtime. But again, tragedy struck. Mondo came down with food poisoning after eating his lunch. He was rushed to the hospital in an ambulance, and the Angels were once again lacking an actor for the key role of Shido. Orai was on the verge of panic. Finally, however, he came up with a solution. Novice actor Takuya Amo, age 31, would take on the part, continued in episode 4. Still, he wanted to meet with the twins first if it was possible. Because he did meet with Osawa in his story. But I don't know if that was supposed to happen or not. That could have been the base thing that would, like, lead him towards a bad ending. Let's see. So I had to wait a bit longer. Just 5 more minutes. Suddenly, a man's voice came through the intercom. Yes, who is it? He sounded rather guarded. It's Minorikawa. Where might I know you from, Mr. Minorikawa? Oh, you know, here and there. I mean, there's only one Minorikawa, really. Are you playing games with me? I don't have any time for that. Please just open up. There's no way I'm letting you in. The discussion was getting them nowhere. Minorikawa decided he'd have to take the direct approach. Look, just hold your horses. I'm here for an interview. You got that? Pointing at the intercom. An interview? He'd taken the bait. Most folks could hardly resist the word interview. That's right. It's a piece for 4-star general gossip. Wait. This is for one of those kinds of articles. The man sounded angry now. What do you mean? Those kinds of articles? I'm just looking for an interview. Like hell you are. I'm not talking to anyone from the gossip. You're not the only one I'm here to talk to. I want to interview your twin daughters. My daughters? No parent would deny their children a chance for word of their achievements to spread. Understand they won a shared prize for a beauty contest at Midoriyama Academy. If you wouldn't mind my interviewing them, Intercom cut out before Minorikawa could finish. Hey, what gives? I'm begging out here, on my hands and knees. He wasn't actually on his hands and knees, but whoever was on the other end couldn't see that. If your daughters aren't home, can you at least tell them I want to get in touch with them? He wasn't even using the intercom now. He was just shouting over the gate. A man stepped out of the front door. Give me your business card, he said. I'll have them get in touch with you later. The man had a somewhat stricken look on his face. This had to be Kenji Osawa then. Wait. Hold on. Osawa? Now Minorikawa recognized him. This was Kenji Osawa, the preeminent virologist who worked for Okoshi Pharmaceutical. 4-star General Gossip had run a scandalous article on him in the past. Minorikawa remembered reading it. He held his business card and Osawa snatched it from him. The virologist started to head back into his house. Please see that they get back to me, Mr. Osawa, Minorikawa shouted after him. And then he noticed something odd. It was the middle of the afternoon, but every window in the house had its curtains drawn. That, combined with Osawa's demeanor, set off alarm bells in Minorikawa's head. He knew he was onto something, but he couldn't linger at the Osawa residence any longer than he already had. He needed to get to that theater ASAP. He hurried back to the taxi and told Kimizuka to go. Maybe that was an important thing I had to do. Or would he still have noticed that without
No, I don't think he would have noticed that if he hadn't talked to Osawa. Alright. A few minutes later, the rear tires skidded sharply as the cab came to a stop beside a different curb. The trip from Shoto to the theater in Sakuragaoka had taken almost no time at all. "Here we are, sir," Kimizuka announced. "Wow, that was fast!" Still, Minorikawa was at least 5 minutes behind schedule. He hoped he'd still be able to get the interview with Ori. Are you serious? Oh my god, I'm at nothing but keep outs. Oh, I did jump from here. I guess I can continue along then. Miss Hitomi, Osawa remained silent. Mr. Osawa, is everything alright? The line went dead. Guess an answer is that well enough, Kano said as he put away his phone. Yeah, but they figured out that they were after Hitomi. Now it was clear why the criminals were after Hitomi. He saw an uneasy look on Stanley's face. "Something on your mind?" Kano asked. Stanley responded with a question of his own. If Hitomi was carrying the antiviral, how are the criminals planning on getting it from her? Kano thought for a moment. "Well, taking her by force at the scramble posed too high a risk," he said. "There were nearly 100 detectives there, and they must have guessed there would be. That's why they devised the attaché case relay. They want to abduct Hitomi somewhere away from the Dragnet's notice. This is the plan that all the signs seem to suggest. But still," he added, "I wonder how they managed to lead her away from police protection." A look of revelation crossed Stanley's face. All they need to do is convince her to go of her own accord. "But how?" Kano asked. Then it came to him. He thought back to Hitomi's initial contact with Tariq Al-Karawan. Just before he'd taken the attaché case from her, the two had a brief conversation. It was possible Al-Karawan had given Hitomi some form of instructions then. Guess we're back to tracking down Al-Karawan again, huh? Kano could tell from the look in Stanley's eyes that he was on the verge of saying something. Probably some remark about how Tatano had allowed Al-Karawan to run free. Right now, Kano wasn't going to argue the point. After this case was resolved, he'd discover what Tatano's real motives were. And once he did, Stanley would eat his words. In the meantime, "We can't just wander around looking without any leads," he said. "Until we've got more intel, let's see what we can do with the security cameras back at the precinct." Numerous monitors shone down on the pair as they entered the Shibuya precinct surveillance room. Each showed an array of faces of individuals somewhere in Shibuya. Kano asked one of the operators to pull up Al-Karawan's data on screen. That turtleneck! By selecting each of the faces on the monitors in turn, they could run comparisons to determine if anyone among them was Al-Karawan. One by one, the operator made his way through the faces. Dang, 2007, they were already talking about like facial recognition programs being utilized by the police. My god. Assuming their target was still in Shibuya, there was a high likelihood they'd find him. But the minutes ticked past and there was still no sign of him. Kano's tone grew more and more impatient as he directed the operator's search. "Just calm down," Stanley said. He set a hand on Kano's shoulder. "You keep wasting your energy when you don't need to." "That's just how I do things," Kano replied. "I'm energetic because I care." He pointed out another face to the operator. "Well, you're setting yourself up for a short life." With a sigh, Stanley sank into a nearby chair. "My brother was like you." The American spoke so quietly that his words were barely audible. 10 minutes later, a man clad in black appeared on one of the monitors. The operator lined up his cursor. The comparison check confirmed that it was Al-Karawan. "Yes!" Kano hissed, pumping his fist. It appeared that their quarry was simply walking around town, calm and composed. Kano radioed in Al Karawan's location to Kuze. "All units intercept the suspect on the double," Kuze ordered. "Kano will provide guidance using the surveillance monitors." They saw Al Karawan stop in front of a cigarette vending machine. Was he waiting for someone? Sasayama reporting, "I've got eyes on the mutt." Mutt. Perpetrator. Book. To put someone in cuffs. Dipper. Pickpocket. Wants. Outstanding warrants. Hang paper. To write multiple citations. And other such traditional police jargon. I did not know about Dipper. That's a new one. Kano's partner had evidently been nearby. "I'm making the arrest," he said. There was a note of courage in Sasayama's voice. He came into view on the monitor, walking casually. Oh my god. At some point he ditched his anime nerd costume for a street dancer's getup. It didn't appear that Al Karawan had noticed him yet. Bit by bit, Sasayama closed the distance. Not much further now. Kano's hand balled into a fist as he watched. And then something unexpected happened. Another man came running into view right in the middle of the monitor. Teruo Toyama. While searching for Hana at Shibuya GIGO, he was located by a duo of debt collectors and fled the scene. Hana left GIGO to find him. Loud noise downstairs. And ran into him here in Maruyumacho. The pair are heading toward Koendori, trying to find a place to hide. There was no sound, but they could see that the newcomer was shouting something. As Al Karawan turned to look at the man, Sasayama launched himself like a bullet from a gun. In an instant, Detective and Perp were locked in a violent scuffle right there on the street. Kano swallowed a lump in his throat as he watched the struggle unfold. Earlier in the day, Al Karawan had done a number on Sasayama, but this time the detective had the upper hand. He got a grip on Al Karawan's neck and kneed him repeatedly. Ooh. Okay, let's hurry up past this slide. Al Karawan tried desperately to bring Sasayama to the ground, but Sasayama braced himself and avoided the takedown. Then he shifted his stance and took Al Karawan to the pavement with a spectacular hip throw. Just take their word for it. Yes! Kano clasped his hands together in excitement. Catching the perp in a scarf hold, Sasayama got out his handcuffs. A technique in judo. It involves wrapping an arm around the opponent's neck while performing an upper body pin. "Stanley, we should head to the scene," Kano said. He looked away from the monitor for a mere moment. When he looked back, Sasayama had released his hold and crumbled to the ground. What? Panicked, Kano stared at the image of his friend. There's something jutting... Oh, God. There's something jutting up from Sasayama's abdomen. "Zoom in!" Kano cried frantically. The camera closed in on Sasayama. Now Kano could see exactly what he'd feared. Sasayama had been stabbed in the gut. Blood pooled on the pavement around him. Kano screamed, "Sasayama!" The camera showed several other detectives arriving at the scene, capturing Al Karawan before he could escape. Sasayama lay motionless. A pool of blood around him spread further and further across the pavement. Unable to look any longer, Kano rushed from the surveillance room. To be continued. Wow, I feel like we're skipping a lot there, but... Dang. So they just killed off Sasayama? There is a whole part missing, well, a 10-minute block, but that could have been them driving back to the precinct. Well, Sasayama might be dead. That's messed up. Okay. A bad end and 3 keep outs. Okay, maybe I do have to... like, do the other Hitomi thing. He decided to go after her. Had she forgotten where he was waiting for her? She stayed on the escalator heading up toward the top floor. Achi followed her, but by the time he reached the top, she was out of sight. This is the restaurant floor, so it was more open than the other levels. Hurley began to look around. As he wandered, he bumped into a man talking on his cell phone. Sorry, my bad. Achi held up a hand in apology, but the man was too engrossed in his conversation to notice. These are all repeats. Again, the lock was undone too. Risk of getting it out. Whoever this guy was talking about, he sure was angry at whoever's on the other end. Minivan, handle things on your end. Huh. Okay, maybe not. Oh, wait, is this new? One of the restaurant employees came rushing up as Achi headed inside. Sir, I'm sorry, she said. Oh, no, this is a repeat too. What am I doing wrong? Okay, it didn't change anything for Achi, but Maria's back down here to her run-in with Yanagashita. Okay. Also, I think her having the magazine might be important. I'll stick with this. Okay, this is new. So after she left Yanagashita, it just went straight to this. But wouldn't that be a time paradox with what Achi saw? Unless she wears the same thing? I don't know. The third floor is packed with young girls. Oh, wait. This is Tama. Or Maria, my bad. The third floor is packed with young girls. I spot a shirt that catches my eye and head to the fitting room to try it on. Then I realize there is something in my pocket. Something I must have been carrying around for a while. It's a photo. Photo of a white man. Stanley. Who's this guy? I can't quite tell if I recognize him or not. This man. Huh? Dangerous. I hear someone's voice inside my head. Stay away from him. Flashes of memory flicker in my mind. I see a girl standing before me. Can't quite recall her face, but I get the impression she's someone very important. She speaks to me. This man is dangerous. Stay away from him. That tattoo. Was that Kanan? That's all. Then I snapped back to my senses. To be fair, Kanan did kill him in that one bad end. She had plenty of time to know who it was. So is Stanley a double agent or something? It feels like I was right on the cusp of remembering something critical. At any rate, it seems that there's some connection between me and the man in the photo. Try as I might, though, I can't recall anything more than that. Yeah, she's wearing entirely different clothes. So then, did Achi really see Maria? No, this is Maria. I mean, did he really see Hitomi? I don't know. Try on the shirt I picked out. Yeah, that looks good. I decided to buy it and leave, or have the store toss out my torn sweater for me. I'm about to go down the escalator. As I'm about to go down the escalator, a young man strides up to me as if I'm an old friend. Do I jump to... Alright.
Achi took the escalator down to the 3rd floor. And there was Hitomi standing right in the open after he'd been searching for her high and low. "There you are. Thought we were going to meet on the 2nd floor," Achi said. She stared back at him in confusion. "Oh well, anyway, come on, we have to go hide." "Hide? Why?" She gave him a dubious look. Achi felt like something was off, but now wasn't the time to dwell on it. "Because those guys might have found us," he said. "They're outside." He took hold of Hitomi's hand. "Hey, let go, what gives?" She quickly yanked her hand away. "Huh?" As Achi tried to make sense of the way she was acting, she took off down the corridor. "Hey, Hitomi!" He hurried after her. It was like changing her clothes had also changed her personality. Still, he couldn't just leave her alone. The kidnappers might well be closing in. He stayed in pursuit of her, trying not to draw too much attention. He headed in the direction Hitomi had gone and came to a stairwell. What the hell is going on? Has she gone up? Or down? Achi frowned in consternation. "Hey, stop right there!" He heard shouting come from down below. Then came the sound of footsteps rushing up the stairs. Hitomi? Was someone chasing her? Achi bolted down the stairs before he could mull over it too much. Down on the landing, he ran into a man who was pale in the face. You gotta help me." The man went and cowered behind Achi. 2 thuggish-looking men came up the stairs after him. "Hand him over, kid." "Yeah, don't make us do nothing we'll both regret." 2 guys bullying some frail old man? Achi huffed. "And you want me to just turn a blind eye while that goes down?" "Yeah, that's not gonna happen." The youngster fellow, the one who looked like a small-time gangster, sneered. "Oh, you're gonna want to turn a blind eye to this, little man. This is gonna get bloody." "By the way," Achi asked, "either of you see a girl around here? Super cute about yay talk." Ooh. The gangster suddenly threw a jab with his right fist and Achi dodged on reflex. The punch wound up catching the man hiding behind him right in the face instead. Oh, whoops. Achi realized his mistake a moment too late. Oog. The man splayed out onto the floor. "Whoa, my bad, Gramps. You okay?" Achi hunkered down and slapped the man in the face. "Hey, come on, stay with me." "It's no use. I'm done for. Please, look after Hana. Minorikawa." The man's muttering was all but incomprehensible. "Hey," Achi said, "this guy seriously needs to get to the hospital or he's in big trouble. You guys, go call an ambulance. He needs..." When Achi looked back, the man in the sunglasses was standing over him, holding up a fire extinguisher. "Why wait for an ambulance when the fire department's already here?" The butt of the fire extinguisher came right down onto Achi's face. "But I didn't call for the fire department." What did I do wrong? While chasing after Hitomi, Achi had a run-in with some Yakuza and got beaten up. But actually, the girl Achi was following wasn't Hitomi. In order for Achi to avoid this disastrous fate, that girl needs to run off in a different direction. Upstairs? Oh boy, a lot of stuff happened, and the PS4 went to sleep, and then I had to start the game back up from the menu. It didn't suspend, which I thought is what it does, but I guess I was just conflating that with what the Switch does. Anyway, yeah, I was gonna jump back here. Maybe I have to have her go a different way. I don't know. I'm completely on tilt after, like, just losing an hour of my life on some foolishness. It's right up to me as if I'm an old friend. Here you are. I thought we were going to meet on the 2nd floor. Going to meet? What's this guy talking about? I've never seen him before. Oh well. Anyway, come on. We have to go hide. Hide? Why do we need to do that? Hide? Why? Because those guys might have found us. They were outside. He grabs my hand and I yank it away. Hey, come on, what gives? Is this some new pickup trick or something? Whatever it is, it's way too aggressive. I get the heck out of there. Hey, hey! The guy keeps shouting, but I ignore him and try to slip away into the crowd. When I look back, though, I see that he's still following me. What do I do? Maybe not another floor, then. Hide somewhere where there are fewer people. I scurry to one of the far corners of the floor. Compared to the area around the stairs, the rest of this level is deserted. I head on up to the fourth floor. When I get to the top of the stairs, I see a man talking on his phone. He looks a little furtive, like he's trying to avoid the public eye. I choose the wrong place for her to go. Oh well, the police sure do know how to do their jobs. What I can hear of his conversation makes me pretty uneasy. I turn on my heel and get the heck out of there. At least we saved her from him. When I arrive at the fourth floor restaurant section, the sign for a Chinese buffet catches my eye. A style of dining where guests serve themselves freely from an array of prepared foods, taking as much of each as they want. Many hotels and restaurants tend to hold buffets at lunchtime or for brunch. Sometimes, however, this just winds up being a kind of cruel trap, with crowded lines making it take forever for you to even get near the food. Imabaki Chinese Restaurant. The name means something along the lines of fire of morning. I guess fire is important for cooking, but that's kind of an unsettling thing to call an eatery. Oh well, I guess the name doesn't really matter. I'm in a mood to straight up devour some Chinese food. When I go to enter, though, I'm stopped by one of the employees. Oh, I'm so sorry, miss. I'm afraid we're not accepting any more, any customers. I mean, we're not really open. Not just now. She sounds a little bewildered by her own words. Why not? Well, you see, one of our other customers ate all of our food. Someone ate an entire restaurant out of food? Is that even possible? What I'm trying to say, miss, is that we're, closed for the day. Go figure. Looks like Mr. Yanagashita's bad luck has rubbed off on me. I guess I'll have to look for another restaurant, too. Hold up. Who's that kid? Lying idly across the seats in the waiting area at the front of the restaurant is a young girl. Is this the girl that dismal-looking fellow has been searching for? She looks so sad it makes my heart ache. I can't just leave her alone. Excuse me, is your name Hana? She looks wary at the question. Your father's been looking for you, I say. Hana ignores me and just stares up at the ceiling. Hey, how about we try to find your dad together? I coax the girl into getting up, then I call out to the restaurant staffer. Excuse me, where should I go to ask them to put an announcement on the PA system? Dunno, maybe, the first floor? The security office? Right, down we go. I take Hana with me and we get on one of the elevators together. Do you know my father? Hana's tone is pretty brusque. Well, I don't really know him exactly. Then are you a debt collector? I laugh and shake my head. Would a debt collector be wearing an outfit like this? I mean, look at them Yakuza. I mean, hey. Hana lets out a deep sigh. So you're just kind of butting in then? Well, yeah, I guess so. Can't help but grin sheepishly. I feel like something about sad little Hana is stirring some of my lost memories. If I just came out and told her that, though, she'd probably think I was a total weirdo. So I decided to say something else. Guess I'm just the sort of person who can't ignore someone in trouble. You're weird. Hana looks away from me. Well, sorry, child. I was just trying to cheer you up. When I get to the security office, I hear voices coming from inside. I wonder what they're talking about. I peek in through the crack in the door and see a man with a cane speaking with a security guard. Oh, shoot. How many exits are there that lead outside? There's a main entrance on the first floor, along with 2 side entrances. Also, there's one down in the first basement level and another in the second basement. Security guard spoke with polite precision. I see, says the man with the cane. I need you to shutter all exits except for the main entrance right away. Understood, sir. Attention all shoppers. The announcement comes in over the loudspeaker. Due to maintenance, all first floor entrances other than the main entrance have been closed. We apologize for the inconvenience. Customers wishing to leave, please use the main entrance on the first floor. Dang, he's just trying to smoke them out like through one entrance. I'm not sure what just happened, but it sounds like the main entrance is now the only way out. Come on, I say. Let's have them make an announcement for us. But when I turn around, Hana is gone. She must have run off while I was distracted. Well, looky here, if it ain't that little cutie again. You. The 2 thugs that were after Yanagashita come strolling toward me. Wow, you're a speedy one, huh? Says the bald man. Weren't you downstairs just now? And did you change your clothes too? He looks me over, seeming impressed. Hey, hold on. Let me see your face. The younger man grabs me by the wrist. You know Yanagashita, yeah? Go on and give him a quick little call for us. Gives me a sharp yank. Let go of me. Can it, girlie? Just give the man a call and we're all good. I have nothing to do with that guy. Do it now. These guys aren't even listening to me. Now I'm pretty pissed off. She about to beat their ass. Yo, Maria! I said I have nothing to do with that guy. We're missing a space there, but alright. Or said I, if you will. Wave my manhandled arm in a wide arc and send the younger man flying into a stack of boxes, rather. Guess he must not have been expecting that. He hits hard. The impact knocks him out cold. Whoa. Who the heck are you? The bald man asks, his eyes wide. Shut up, I tell him. You're next. Irk. I flash a winning grin. He gathers up his fallen friend and drags him away as fast as he can go. Okay, that was pretty strange. It was just like when I was fighting Miku. My body seems to know how to pull off all these moves instinctively. Am I a martial artist, maybe? Oh my gosh, she trained with Kanan, didn't she? Anyway, I've got to find Hana. Easier said than done. I wander around the building, but I don't see any sign of the girl. Maybe she went back home? Eventually, I slumped down on a bench in a corner. I wish I could go home too, I muttered to myself. Something cold presses against my neck. What? Is that what I think it is? Make a scene and I slit your throat. Oh no, it is a knife. 2 foreign men grab me by the arms from either side. In that moment, fragmentary memories flood through my mind. I'm on the street. It looks like someplace in the Middle East. I'm being dragged along by several men. I'm too scared to speak. There are people on the street market vendors, but none of them seem willing to get involved. The men drag me into some back alley. Help me. Please, somebody help me. I'm being abducted. And then a dark silhouette drops down in front of me. The figure brandishes a knife threateningly at the men.
The blade moves with dazzling speed. My captors are all down in mere moments. Who is this? Who came to save me? I try my utmost to drag my memories to the surface. It's a girl. That's right, I'm certain of that much. I remember her face, but it's a girl, younger than me. Walk faster. The angry hiss in my ear snaps me out of my flashback. What was that memory just now? I'm more concerned about the girl who saved me than I am about the men who've captured me now. The two thugs march me along, still holding me by the arms. Can't believe she was in a place like that. Yeah, talk about giving us the runaround. I can't figure out what they're talking about. A place like what? Giving them the runaround? Do you know me? Two men look at each other. Wait, are you the other one? One of them peers closely into my face. What are you talking about? What do you mean a place like... I stop as a sudden idea comes to me. Hold on. Are you talking about that storehouse? The men look utterly confused. What are you talking about? One of them asks. I explain that I've lost my memory. This seems to make them pretty anxious. We gotta report this. One of the men takes out his cell phone and makes a call. He informs whoever's on the other end that I've lost my memory. I have no idea what's going on. Based on what I can follow from the conversation, though, it seems like these were the people who had put me in that storehouse. Why are you trying to hold a normal conversation? Why would you tell them you lost your memory if they're holding a knife to you? Say like you don't know who they are and okay. But why had they done that? One of these guys asked if I was the other one. What could that possibly mean? Could it be? Did they abduct me because they mistook me for someone else? Just like how everyone, well, not everyone, but Achi mistook you for someone else? If so, who? The more I try to think, the more muddied this all gets. Calm down. Just calm down. Let's think of what we know. What I do know for sure is that I woke up inside that storehouse. And evidently, I took a blow to the head, and that's the cause of my amnesia. Hold on. That's strange. If these people had kidnapped me before, why wasn't the storehouse, well, locked? Seems pretty sloppy if they wanted to keep someone confined. What could all this possibly mean? It's no use. I haven't the foggiest. None of this makes any sense at all. Let go of her. I crane my neck to see who spoke. It's the man with the cane who was at the security office. Who the hell are you? One of my captors barks. I said let her go. Did you not hear? The man with the cane pulls a gun from his suit pocket. Get lost. This isn't worth dying over. Two men take a few steps back and then bolt out of the alleyway. Who are you? My voice trembles slightly. Guess he's not here. The man takes a quick look around. He? Do you mean Mr. Yanagashita? All that matters is that he's not here. Gun in hand, the man slowly approaches. He thinks that's Hitomi too. Hitomi Osawa. I know you've done nothing wrong. What? I feel a jolt of surprise at the name. Hitomi Osawa? Is that my name? His face, a mask of stone. The man points the gun right at my head.
Please, no hard feelings. Well, damn. Yeah, he thinks that's Hitomi. So he really is trying to kill Hitomi. Whoever that is, I still think that might be Tatano, but I don't know. That's some deep shit. But nothing changed on his thing. Maybe. No. At 440. Because she still went to the stairs. He probably followed her there. For now, maybe I should head to another floor. If I can select it. Hurry toward the bank of elevators. There we go. Oh my god. Oh, but isn't Tama? What a coincidence. It's Yanagashita again. Trying to walk on by like I don't notice him, but it's already too late. Huh? Hey, which boyfriend go? Boyfriend? I have no clue what he's talking about. Anyway, perfect timing. Can you give me back that magazine? Nothing you're saying is making any sense. I parried him in confusion. Once again, Yanagashita looks like he might start to cry. Don't tease me like this. I did give it to you, right? No, you didn't give me anything. I get it. You wanted that 100,000 yen all to yourself. No, wait, in this timeline I did, because I hid out with him and he handed her. Or was that what he gave to them? Or I'm confused. So now you're playing dumb, is that it? No, I honestly have no idea what this is all about. But now he's all worked up and getting red in the face. Look, you might have amnesia, but that excuse ain't gonna fly with me. The amnesia has nothing to do with it. He doesn't seem to want to believe me no matter what I say. Come on, hurry up and just give it back. Otherwise I'm gonna start bawling here real loud. He's gonna cry? Seriously? This guy's a real piece of work. Well, what's it gonna be? You gonna make a grown man cry? It would certainly be pretty embarrassing if he starts sobbing now. I can't exactly give him back a magazine I never had. The elevator door is open. Well, if it isn't our little entrepreneur, we've been looking for you. It's the two thugs from before, and there's no avoiding them this time. Asao Ozu and his underling Yutaro Sagawa, members of the Tenryu Gumi Yakuza Syndicate. Ozu is quite frightening when angry. His nickname is Ozu the Ogre, but despite his strong emotions, he is very logic-driven. Sagawa is the archetypical punk who likes to get into scuffles, but he's also a really good cook. Yipes! The men drag Mr. Yanagashita into the elevator. Save me, Tama! He grabs hold of my hand. Hey, let go of me! Great, now I'm in the elevator too, and the doors are shutting. Now then, Mr. Yanagashita, says the bald-headed man, there's nowhere else to run. His tone is polite, but also pretty foreboding. Whoa, wait, just hold on, I can get you the money. I'm just about to get loads of it. Enough of your poppycock, snarls the younger guy. You, said poppycock. Balderdash, claptrap, straight up nonsense. Take it from the Dutch papikak, meaning soft dung. Papikak, okay. I really mean it this time, please, you have to believe me. I can pay you 100,000 right now. 100,000? You really carrying around that much? Asks the bald man. No, not me, the girl.
The men turned to eye me in unison. She's holding on to something that's worth 100,000 yen. What? The sudden turn in the conversation has me all flustered. Tama, please, Yanagashita says. Just hand it over. I already told you I don't know what you're talking about. The elevator stops at the first floor and the door is open. Oh! Standing on the other side of the doors is the guy I ran into earlier, Hana's father. The bald-headed man snarls, Toyama! Ha! Ha! I'll just get the next one. Hana's father bolts like a startled hare. The bald man and his cronies stare after him. Now's my chance, Yanagashita hisses. So they're just going after both of them. He darts out of the elevator and makes a run for it. Hey, after him, shouts the bald man. After who? Him or him? Just start with Toyama. The two thugs race after Hana's father. They've left me all by myself. I'm worried enough to think about going after them, but before too long I've lost sight of them all. For a long time, just I stand there, dumbfounded like a hurricane victim lingering in the aftermath. Ugh, what a day this has been. When I finally get my wits about me, I realize I'm pretty hungry. That's right, I didn't get to eat lunch. I head to the 4th floor where the restaurants are. Since I really don't want to run into Yanagashita and those other guys again, I decide to take the escalator. As I'm riding it up, I hear a commotion coming from the floor below. It's a man's voice shouting angrily. Out of my way, come on. I pay the outburst no heed and let the escalator take me up. That might have been Achi. He might be safe. Okay. Yep. Okay, so yeah, back at the point where Achi was chasing after her. Still, he couldn't just leave her alone. The kidnappers might well be closing in. He stayed in pursuit of her, trying not to draw too much attention. He lost track of her somewhere near the elevators. Ugh, what is her deal? Sure of what else he should do, he headed back down to their rendezvous point on the 2nd floor. When he arrived, he spotted Hitomi heading down the escalator ahead of him. Hitomi! Achi shouted. His voice vanished into the noise of the crowd and she disappeared onto the 1st floor. Damn it! Achi rushed down the escalator. He took the steps 2, 3, 5 at a time. That's very dangerous. He made it to the 1st floor and looked around. There was Hitomi about to take a different escalator back up. Why is she doing this? He waved his arms to get her attention, but she didn't notice and headed right back up. Down, up. What the heck is she thinking? Achi sped around and got on the upward escalator. Out of my way, come on! He shoved people aside as he ran up the moving stairs. But he saw no sign of Hitomi when he reached the 2nd floor. He lost track of her completely. Oh, come on, this is ridiculous. Achi's shoulders slumped. He felt exhausted, but he kept up his search, scouring one floor after another until eventually he made it down to the 2nd basement level. Had she grown too impatient waiting for Kanan and gone off searching for the blue minivan again? I think I can handle myself from here. He thought back to what Hitomi had said earlier. Damn it! She's not going to be okay by herself. He pounded his fist into the wall in frustration. Please stop! That was Hitomi's voice. Huh. These guys get around. I've completely lost track of what the hell is going on with this chapter. This one's kind of all over the place. And I noticed like a few paradoxes in there. Whatever. Let's just go with it. Hitomi. Achi moved faster than he could think.
Wait, yeah, cause... But no, she's gonna meet Hana when she's up there. But they ran into Toyama on the elevator. Yeah, alright. The jumping around got me a little confused there. But I think it all adds up, except for the clothing change for when Achi saw her, but I guess that was me on the wrong path? I'm gonna have to look back over all this. Achi! She called back. A pair of thugs had grabbed her by both arms. Achi stomped his way towards them. Get your hands off of her, he shouted. Oh yeah, and this is Achi's first time meeting them, because he didn't run into Toyama. Alright. Huh? What's it to you, pal? The older of the two, a middle-aged fellow, turned to Achi with a sneer. I keep just changing their voices up each time. He looked familiar somehow. Hitomi shook herself free of the men and ran over to Achi. It's no use trying to act tough, buddy. We're just trying to get back what we're owed. Don't make us have to get rough with you. Oh no, actually the only paradox is the magazine. Cause by hiding with Yanagashita, did he give it to her? So wait, what happened first? Him giving, but no, cause he ran into. So one of them would have to have never happened. Like him giving... Because I know in Achi's story, like he slid under the photo booth and gave them the magazine. But in Tama's story, he also like gave her a magazine to clutch. At least I think he did. I don't know. I don't know. We're just trying to get back what we owe. Don't make us have to get rough with you. What are you owed? You told me, do you owe people money? No, I don't. They just came after me and started going on about 2 million yen. She looked just as baffled by the situation as Achi was. If you're gonna blame someone, blame your boss, the older man said. He gestured to his lackey. A feral gleam flashed in the young punk's eyes. It was the look of a man who couldn't resist dishing out a beatdown. He brought up his fists and shifted his feet, shadowboxing a few quick jabs with his left hand. It looked to Achi like the guy was an experienced boxer. Hold on, Hitomi said. What do you mean, my boss? Say what? Yanagashita, who the hell do you think? The young punk shuffled closer, fists still menacing. Then his expression changed. Hey. Hold on. Are you Achiendo? Yeah, that's right. Ha ha! Well, ain't that lucky? Also, can't they tell like who's who by the clothes they're wearing? But okay. Ain't that lucky getting to throw down with you like this? The punk sounded pleased indeed. I've heard all sorts of rumors about you, you know? Let's see how true they are. Achi didn't like his chances in a straight-up fight with a trained boxer. What should he do? Because staying on the regular path, they'll run into Maria, who beats his ass. So run for it. He had to run. He reached behind himself and grabbed Hitomi by the arm. Keeping his eyes fixed on his opponent, he took a careful step back. Running away, huh? Coward? The punk was quick to close the gap Achi had just made. Achi didn't care if he was a coward or not. All he cared about was making sure Hitomi was safe. Suddenly, the elevator doors opened before them. A miserable-looking older man stood in the elevator. This is ridiculous. At the sight of him, the punk's face went red with rage. You! Toyama! Going up. The man in the elevator hurriedly closed the doors. The two thugs rushed toward him, but the elevator had already begun heading back upward. "Come on! After him!" the older man shouted. The young punk raced up the stairs. "You stay right where you are," the older fellow added, glaring at Hitomi. Then he followed after his lackey. Like they're gonna stay there. Shut up. Does he really think we're dumb enough to just wait here? Achi scoffed. "Achi, I've been looking all over for you." Hitomi gave him an angry swat on the chest. "For me? What are you talking about? You weren't waiting where you said you'd be." "Yeah, because you went up to another floor." "What do you mean? I went right where you said. On the second floor." "Huh?" This wasn't quite adding up. "The second floor? What are you talking about?" "You went up to the third floor." "No, I didn't." "Wait, what? None of this makes any sense." Achi felt like his brain was getting scrambled. Sound it out. Say you saw someone who looked exactly like her. Then y'all can put two and two together like, wait a minute. Was that Maria? If it was somebody who looked exactly like me but wearing different clothes. And they're just going to brush it off. "Well, anyway, at least I found you safe and sound." Man, dramatic irony can hurt sometimes. "Yeah." The two smiled at one another. What's with those clothes? Tommy's new outfit was completely different from the clothes she had on earlier. "I tried on a few things but wound up deciding on this." "You try other stuff on?" "Oh, okay, that explains it," Achi said. At least now things sorta made sense. "Yeah, you know, like the stores where they let you try clothes on outside the store. Yeah, wow. Cool, all the places do that. That's nice, you know." "What is?" "Your clothes, I mean, they look good on you." "Thank you." Heh, well, I'm actually blushing now. Kinda made me blush to say it. Achi and Hitomi shyly avoided each other's eyes. So then... Wait. I'm gonna watch my footage back, like... Because he gave her the magazine. I'm sure he gave Maria the magazine. I'm gonna have to watch it back. Oh, so hey, Achi said, eager to change the subject. Do you still have that magazine? Oh, right, yeah. I was going to just throw it away, but I couldn't. How come? I haven't been able to find the right kind of receptacle. Newspapers and magazines are supposed to be kept separate from normal trash, right? Tommy scanned their surroundings for a suitable bin. Wait, are you serious? Yeah. You're thinking about proper recycling now of all times? Is that weird? Uh-oh. I'm in trouble. Think you might just be perfect. Achi found himself blushing even harder now. Tama! A sudden yell snapped him out of his embarrassment. What is going on? So this is after... Yeah, because Maria didn't run into him again. Right? No, yeah, because at the elevator, like, he split off when she went up with Hana. Okay. The sketchy-looking fellow who'd given her the magazine was scampering down the stairs toward them. Great, Achi said. The weirdo's back. The man ignored him, though, and leaned in close to Hitomi. Ha 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 ha! You do still have it! He snatched the magazine from Hitomi's hands. Yes! This one hasn't been scratched off yet! The man hunkered down on the floor and began scratching away at a scratch card stapled into the centerfold. Oh yeah, he definitely want to stop that. Wait! Don't let him have that! Another man came swooping out of nowhere and yanked the magazine away. It was the older fellow who'd appeared in the elevator minutes before. You can't do that! That's mine! The sketchy-looking man clutched at the older newcomer. Let go! No way! I said let go! And I said no way! The two were fighting right in front of the exit, keeping Achi and Hitomi from leaving.
How do you like this? The older man shouted, scratching away haphazardly at the ticket. Now it's just a worthless scrap of paper. Ah, my 100,000 yen. You mean my 100,000 yen? Ha 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 ha! Then the middle-aged fellow looked back down at the ticket. Oh no, he scratched off the... What are the odds? Somehow in his random scratching, he'd happen to land himself a winner. Give it! No way! The two men took off, engaged in a running battle for the ticket. What's the deal with those two? I'm not sure. Achi Hitomi can only stand there dumbfounded. On the other hand, hey, look at the time. It's almost 3. The two headed hurriedly for the GIGO back entrance. But it was locked. Yep, but just as they were nearing the doors, the shutters dropped down in front of them. Whoa, what gives? Due to maintenance, all entrances other than the main entrance on the first floor have been closed. We apologize for the inconvenience. Customers wishing to leave, please use the main entrance on the first floor. Achi glared at the loudspeaker. It looked like there was no exit through the back after all. I've got a really bad preposition about this. You mean premonition? Hitomi had gotten quicker to butt in with her corrections. Holding on to their premonitions, then, the two hurried their way up the stairwell. They don't have anything to worry about because the man with the cane is tailing the two thugs that got Maria. As Hitomi tried to head out the first floor entryway, Achi yanked her back. Careful. What's the matter? It's that guy. Huh? Hitomi's expression stiffened. Shit. Oh, slipping behind a pillar nearby, Achi pointed to the man with the cane, who was keenly eyeing shoppers as they came and went. Well, this bites. No way we're getting out with him there. Achi! Hitomi whispered in his ear. Behind us! Achi glanced back and saw the two goons walking in their direction. Uh-oh. Well, he woke up quick. If those two caused a scene like before, the assassin would notice them for sure. Aha! Younger punk had spotted them. Damn it, Achi thought, gritting his teeth. Never mind, they thought it was Maria, who would kick their asses again. Eep! But the thuggish pair let out a teensy squeak, and then darted off in a different direction, vanishing from view. What the heck? Achi Hitomi watched them go, unsure what to make of the sudden retreat. Well, anyway, Achi said after a moment, now we can try to find another way out. Taking Hitomi by the hand, he headed back into the shopping area. The back entrance on the first floor, that was a no-go. The other emergency exits were also locked down, which meant that the main entrance on the first floor really was the only choke point in or out. It was almost time for them to meet Kanan. They needed to find some way to bust out of here. The pair headed back toward the main entrance. Then they saw the man with the cane again, heading in their direction. He hadn't seen them yet, but there was no way they'd avoid him if they didn't do something quick. Guess for now, we've got to give up. Or we got to go up, Achi said to Hitomi. But he's not going to, do anything in a freaking crowded building. They started racing up the nearest escalator, which was descending from above. My bad, coming through. Sorry, please excuse us. They fought and shoved their way past a stream of people riding in the other direction. They could see the second floor now. Achi figured they'd be in the clear once they got there. But then a large woman appeared at the top of the escalator leading down. She was the one who'd been in the Chinese restaurant on the 4th floor. The one who'd supposedly packed an entire buffet into her belly. She was wide enough that Achi and Hitomi would never be able to slip past her. Hey, out of the way! Achi shouted.
but the young woman ignored him. Achi tried to push past, but he just bounced off her. They were drifting inevitably back down toward the first floor. It was like they were riding a conveyor belt that was delivering them right to the assassin. Oh my god. This was not good. If they didn't do something soon, they'd... Wait a sec. Something must have caught the assassin's eye. Achi saw him suddenly rush outside. There's no telling what had just happened, but now there was a chance to escape. Achi Hitomi raced out the door. Outside, the man with the cane was nowhere to be seen. Looks like we're safe. Achi let out a sigh. For now, someone said, keep your eyes open. The sudden words made the two turn with a start. Kanan was standing right behind them. That was creepy. She'd gotten this close and neither of them had noticed a thing. She moved with all the skill of an assassin. Achi felt a chill shoot through him. Probably because she is an assassin. But alright, they met with her, so I guess we're going to get some exposition with them in the next hour, so that's good. But I still have Minorikawa and Osawa, but I have keep outs with them. This doesn't help me. Looks like I never used this jump point. Yeah, because I couldn't at the time. So why does this go to his 235? Alright. Fine. Okay. Minorikawa got his wallet out of his jacket to pay the driver. Oh no, Kimazuka said, waving a hand. Don't worry about the fare. Huh? Why not? There's still plenty left over from what you paid me earlier, sir. That's what I meant by special fare. That's right. He paid Kimazuka a whole 10,000 yen for taking him to Indo Electronics earlier. But, I mean, I'm not the sort of person to keep the change, as it were, Kimazuka said. Minorikawa felt a surge of pride at those words. You're my kind of guy, Mr. Kimazuka. A man on the job can always count on... A man on the job can always count on Hachiro Kimazuka's taxi. The driver grinned. Now go on. Go. Thank you. I have a feeling we'll meet again. As Minorikawa entered the theater lobby, he saw a bunch of flower bouquets, patrons' gifts of appreciation. Among the names of the senders were celebrities he recognized. The largest of the bouquets sent by Koichi Nakamura of the secret society Chunsoft. Okay, the next largest came from Marutaro Ishihara from the government organization Joy Art. Following that were those from actress Barako Rose, popular scenario writer Ebisu Ipamatsu, Tohoku Busters, Bus Tours Co., Limited, bus guide Kimiko Amo, professional baseball player Masa Narakio, the ventriloquist Shinshin, ukulele player Hawaii Matsuda, online TV critic Ginzo Akitsu, and so on. Evidently, the Wandering Angels were a pretty popular acting troupe. Episode 4. Novice actor Takuya Amo, despite his nervousness, gave a creditable performance as Shido as the production got underway. But as the show continued, his inexperience became apparent. He went on stage for the big wire action scene, having forgotten to attach himself to the rigging. Tozuka was quick to act, rushing on stage in the improvised role of assassin with an Edo accent #1 and fixing a rope to Amo's back during the confusion. Continued in episode 5. People were setting out pamphlets and flyers out on a nearby table. There was a palpable tension in the air. The crew seemed skittish as they went about their work. "He's late!" someone shouted all of a sudden. It was a man over in one corner of the lobby, railing angrily to nobody in particular. "Why the hell hasn't that journalist shown up yet for the interview?" Looked like he'd been waiting on Minorikawa then. "What's his deal, pulling this while we're this busy?" "Guess that's Shinosuke Owarai." Owarai? I will not be able to pronounce that correctly. "I've been busy myself," Minorikawa said, keeping his composure. "Trust me, I know how it goes." "Huh? Who the hell are you?" "I'm the guy you've been waiting for. Mr. Owarai?" The man glared at him. "It's Owarai." Owarai. Okay. Owarai? I don't know, he said. "Anyway, I'm Minorikawa. Sorry to keep you waiting. Though really a short wait is a small price to pay for the chance to be interviewed by me." "Well, I hope you appreciate how valuable my time is now that you're taking it," snapped Owarai. "Well, someone sure has a high opinion of himself," Minorikawa replied. He marched up to Owarai. "Damn right I do. I'm Shinosuke Owarai." The theater man got right up in Minorikawa's face. "Like anyone even cares." A jolt of tension sparked between the two men. Two self-important men just... Alright. Around this time, there's a similar jolt of tension between two other people, Kenji Osawa and Mamoru Tanaka. I'm sorry, I'm way more invested in this than Minorikawa right now. Osawa picked up his cell phone and dialed Tanaka's number. Phone rang several times. He listened grimly to the empty mechanical sound, preparing himself for disappointment. "What is it?" Tanaka's voice sounded coldly into Osawa's ear. The tension was electric. Osawa felt a surge of outrage. He wanted to scream, but he took a deep breath and managed to maintain control. "Tanaka, where are you? Is Maria all right?" Tanaka did not reply. "The police told me. They said you were connected to the kidnapping." A soft chuckle came from the other end of the line. "Ah, well, police sure do know how to do their jobs." Tanaka's voice was unapologetic. He sounded nothing like the man Osawa thought he knew so well. That's the conversation Maria heard. "Why would you do this? Money? Are you having money troubles?" "Money," Tanaka replied. "I suppose that's part of it. Honestly, I doubt you'd understand. Do you have any idea what it's been like for me, doing our research together? You're always the one who takes center stage. The fruits of our successes are all yours, even though you couldn't have done any of it without me." The more he said, the more vitriol seeped into his words. Osawa's hands trembled as he clutched the phone. The taker could never understand how it feels to be taken from. You've hoarded so many things to yourself, so I'm taking some of them back. And with that, he hung up. "Hey! Tanaka!" Osawa dialed the number again, but Tanaka didn't pick up. Osawa racked his brain, thinking back on how Tanaka had been acting earlier that day. Had there been anything unusual? Any clue at all, no matter how small? If he could find some hint, maybe he'd be able to find Maria and Hitomi. That was it! I had been suspicious of Tanaka all along. So much so that she'd planted a bug on him hidden in a tie clip. Her suspicions must have been pretty strong. Wait. So I recall what Kajiwara had said. But still, if she is that worried, giving a tie clip as a gift is a bit... The words had struck Osawa as odd when he first heard them. I had never given him a tie clip. His heart gave a heavy throb in his chest. It couldn't be. No, it was impossible. That article for 4-star general gossip crept back into his mind. The article had talked about a man Ai had dated before she married Osawa. Oh my fucking god. The man's identity was never revealed. Could it have been Tanaka? You've hoarded so many things to yourself, so I'm taking some of them back. Tanaka's cold words took on a new depth of meaning. Osawa felt the foundations of his life begin to crumble. Were Tanaka and Ai accomplices in all this? No. Wait. Just calm down. He couldn't let himself jump to conclusions. He needed to be more level-headed. Everything depended on it. If the two really were accomplices, why would Ai have planted a bug on Tanaka? What purpose would that serve? What could it mean? It was no use. Osawa couldn't think of how that made sense. First things first, he needed to establish what the relationship between Ai and Tanaka really was. Once he figured that out, he'd be able to get a better handle on the situation. Obviously, he couldn't just go and ask Ai directly. If she really were involved in all this, she certainly wouldn't tell him the truth. Osawa thought back to the business card he tossed into the trash. He didn't relish the thought of getting help from that scavenging hyena, but now it's no time to be picky. He wasn't able to leave the house. He needed someone else to do some investigating for him. Freelance writer Minoru Minorikawa. He was Osawa's only hope. Dang. So he's pretty much just going to have Minorikawa. Oh, but will Minorikawa even agree to do it with how busy he is? I don't know. But let's wrap up Minorikawa then. No one even cares. Jodo's attention sparked between two men. I beg your pardon, a woman interrupted. But Mr. Orai does have a schedule to keep. And who are you, Miss? Tsukuzawa. I'm the producer. Well, listen, Sue, I'm in the middle of an interview here. Please don't interrupt. What? That's how you conduct an interview? That's right. This is how I roll. Look, whatever, Orai growled. Let's just do this already. Fine by me. The two men sat down opposite sides of a table in the lobby. But Tsukuzawa spoke up again. Mr. Orai, don't forget the meeting you have after this. Yeah. Handle that, would you? Minorikawa let out a derisive snort. It's like you're holding court, he said. Do people actually hang around with you with that kind of attitude? You have no right to judge my acting troupe. Minorikawa straightened up in his chair, a mocking smile on his lips. Oh, so it's your acting troupe, huh? He said. Why not just play all the roles yourself? Heck, you could even be your own audience. How dare you? Orai rose to his feet and made to leave, but Tsukuzawa herded him back down into his chair. Minorikawa continued as if he hadn't heard. Just what is it that you do anyway? He asked. Orai raised an incredulous eyebrow. You don't know? No? Why should I? You came to an interview without knowing anything about who you were interviewing? Yep. That's it. Get out. Orai roared and pointed angrily toward the exit. How dare an unmannered clod like you come in here and waste my time? Hey, who's being unmannered now? I came all the way out here to hear your story, didn't I? Why don't you get out? Minorikawa pointed at the exit as well. Why the hell should I have to leave? Orai demanded. This is my house. Theater jargon for the theater itself, especially the main auditorium. Look, just get out. This time both yelled and pointed toward the exit in unison. Birds of a feather. Tsukuzawa quickly interposed herself between them, forcing a smile. Gentlemen, please calm down, she said. The
She turned to Minorikawa. You should be aware that Mr. Orai used to be a broadcast writer.
Someone who writes for television or radio programs. A great show depends not only on the actor's performances, but on the skills of the broadcast writer.
He's responsible for a lot of big hits.
You don't need to mention that, Orai grumbled. Nonetheless, Sugazawa rattled off the names of several shows.
Names of several shows. Why can I not speak today?
Minorikawa did indeed recognize many of them. He murmured. So how come you're running a failing theater now?
Failing?
Orai went red in the face. I'm not wrong, am I?
You are absolutely the rudest person I have ever met. Why would a rank amateur like yourself know about theater?
Orai's face was dark with rage, but Minorikawa didn't back down. Listen, this has nothing to do with how well your theater is or isn't doing, he snapped. The television world wouldn't accept you. So in order to retain your pride as an entertainer, you started doing theater. Is that or isn't that so?
Don't act like you know anything. I've staked my entire life on this theater.
It seemed as if Orai might throw a punch at any moment.
Sure, a city theater might seem small time compared to TV, but you get a lot more of a response from it.
Response? Oh, now that sounds interesting.
Darn right, Orai exclaimed. You can see it from up on stage. The audience, you can see their faces.
There was a passion in Orai's voice now.
You can really feel it. When the audience is enjoying themselves, you can feel that energy. You can't get that from doing television. Thinking back on it now, my time spent working on TV. Let's see, what's a good analogy? It's like being handed a towel that's already damp. No, that's not right. Okay, so a better analogy would be...
And without further preamble, Orai began talking about his tribulations back in his broadcast writer days. Minorikawa smiled inwardly. The interview ended promptly after 15 minutes, the time that had been promised. Both men engaged... Oh my god. Both men emerged from it as if from a daze. Minorikawa found himself staring Orai in the face, shaking him by the hand. So, what kind of story did I just get? He asked, speaking half to himself.
You heard about one man and his life. And I have to admit, it was a good interview.
Thanks. You have my gratitude. With a satisfied smile, Minorikawa closed his notebook. Right. I'm glad to hear that then. Orai inclined his head, looking a bit bewildered. A flustered Sugazawa interrupted.
Mr. Minorikawa, wasn't this interview for a piece about the performance?
Huh? Minorikawa blinked.
It's just that you were only asking about Mr. Orai and not about the performance itself,
Sugazawa said. Oh, I see what you mean. Actually, I came here for a piece I'm going to be writing called Where Are They Now? Washed Up Broadcast Writer Showcase.
I washed up?
Orai was red in the face all over again.
This splash screen.
Oh my god.
You bastard, how dare you! Forget everything I just told you. I do not give you my permission to use it in your magazine.
You're too late.
What?
I already heard your whole story. You should be grateful that I'll be writing a piece on it.
You bastard!
With a wild look in his eyes, Orai snatched up a hammer the stage crew had left nearby. He'll probably do it too. That's the thing. Whatever. Go ahead, hit me.
Oh, I'll hit you, all right.
Orai waved the hammer menacingly. But the attack came to a sudden halt as a ringtone startled him out of his fury. This guy is the best. Like, he's just a blatant asshole, but you kind of gotta love how unabashedly unashamed he is about it. Hold on a moment, Minorikawa said brightly. I have to take this. He whipped out his cell phone. Hello, Minorikawa speaking. This is Osawa. Wow, he called back a lot sooner than Minorikawa had expected. Have your daughters come home then? No. Actually, there's a favor I'd like to ask you. A favor? Minorikawa thought back to his visit to the Osawa residence. The drawn curtains, the stricken look on Osawa's face. Minorikawa's instincts had sensed something significant going on. Apparently, getting the full story wasn't going to come without some cost. A favor, huh? Is it something urgent? I'll pay whatever I have to. I just need you to look into something as quickly as possible. His voice had the telltale desperation of a man who'd been backed into a corner. All right, Minorikawa said. I can help you out for a little while. Osawa hurriedly explained what he was after. The request was a strange one. He wanted Minorikawa to look into a scandalous article that 4-star general gossip had run about him in the past. What makes this so important? Do I have to say? I mean, you're asking me to look into something without explaining anything. He eyed Ori, lurking nearby with obvious irritation. Minorikawa would need to calm down the erstwhile broadcast writer, or else his interview really would be for naught. He decided to bluff both men at the same time. Let me just say one thing, he said into the phone. He made sure he spoke loud and clear so that Ori would overhear. I want to tell the world this story. No, I need to tell it. If I don't feel that way about something, no amount of money in the world will get me to write an article on it. That's my pride as a writer at work. Minorikawa could see Ori's aura of rage fading as he listened. The theater man looked surprised. Phew. Meanwhile, Osawa had decided to open up a bit. All right, he said. I can't share all the details, but... Okay, he's in a talkative mood now. Good job, Minorikawa. See, this is going fine. The power balance of the entire world might be at stake here, Osawa continued, and I mean that quite literally. I can tell you more after you've done investigating. Or after you're done investigating. Wait, was he serious? How could the world's balance of power hinge on looking into some alleged marital affair? It's so absurd that Minorikawa had to fight the urge to burst out laughing. A person would need to be out of his mind to believe a story like that. But Minorikawa wasn't the average person. And sometimes the truth was so ridiculous, it really was stranger than fiction. I think just gotta let that one sink in. Osawa wasn't lying. Minorikawa's instincts told him that much. Alright, he said. I'll check the editing department's notes from back then. Minorikawa felt his excitement building. Things were really getting interesting. For the moment, he nearly forgot Toyama and his troubles. When he ended the call, Ori approached him and extended his hand. Listen, your methods might be a little extreme, but I can tell you take pride in your work. Of course I do. I'm sorry for getting so worked up. I bet you'd write a fine article about me. So please, Mr. Minorikawa, let the world know about me and my half-lived life. Minorikawa took the offered hand and shook it. Leave it to me. Once I'm done with it, you won't be just some washed-up nobody anymore. Mr. Ori. It's Ori. Minorikawa grinned. Is that a Pokeball? Back? I don't know. Minorikawa rushed out of the theater. He completed all the interviews that he could get done before 4 o'clock. Now he had an hour left to write it all up to convince the folks from the loan company that the gossip could stay afloat. Rarg! He let out a roar, psyching himself up for the final push. Well, at least his ends on a somewhat, happy note. But this next hour is going to be interesting. On so many levels. This person also killed my friend. Everyone in Shibuya is going to die. What? Was that an accident or an attack? He's after Hitomi Osawa. How many hours ago was she infected? What? Okay. It's going down. It's going down next time. It is going down. Oh wow. Oh wow. My hypothesis was right. So who's the carrier? Who's the carrier? They really change her clothes. Or no, was that what she was wearing? No, that's not. No, yeah, she did change her clothes because she was in a yellow sweater before. Okay, that's nice. All right. But yeah, next time we're going to 3 o'clock. This stuff is getting real. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day. See you next time for some more Let's Play 428 Shibuya Scramble. Goodbye.